Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Kicking Back podcast. Today I am joined with the wonderful Sam Parry. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, sir. And I've also got the wonderful Alistair Simpson. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good. And you two, of course, are a part of the wonderful band that is XMenBTeam.
Yeah, we are. 33%,
33%.
0.3 recurring.
Nice. And of course, we have the usual wolf at the back, Matthew Campbell.
Hello, Bradley.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. So we've all had a nice day. We're all chilled. We're all feeling ready for some chat and some shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man. So I guess I'll direct it at Sam. I'm not used to having two guests.
Generally direct them at Sam, and I'll chime in as and when.
You've got your line sorted, haven't you, Al?
Yeah,
there you go. So, Sam, for the people at home, tell us a bit about XMenBTeam.
We are a band. We play kind of drum and bassy, dubby kind of tunes, but with a bit of a rocky kind of metal infusion. Basically anything, really.
Yeah.
Anything that is loud and helps people dance, I guess.
Sick. And how long you been doing it for now?
I'm going to estimate 6 years this year.
Ooh.
Wow. 6 years like as a thing, but due to various bouts of depression and things like that, on and off, really.
Okay.
We push for a bit, then I have a crisis, and then we stop, and then we push again for a bit, and just kind of that kind of vibe.
Swings and roundabouts, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Just the way it goes.
Where did that name come from? XMenBTeam.
I'm a comic book guy. I've always loved comic books, and it was kind of like I always had this kind of fascination with what if you were an X-Man, one of the X-Men, but your mutant ability was that you could put up a plastic shield between you and anyone else, or you could grow your fingernails really long, or you could make all the hair on your body fall off, and then it would just regrow at the normal rate. It's not like it's not the A team. It's kind of the X-Men B team, and then it just kind of evolved into this. I don't know. There's a lot of people kind of around about kind of mid-late 20s, that kind of vibe that you kind of get told all the way through school. You get told this is what you need to do next. You need to do this next and this next and this next, and then especially when I got to about kind of 25, I just realised a lot of my friends realised that well, what do we do now? You kind of left to your own devices. Like we've got a family, we've got a job. I'm still not happy. What's going on? So that's where the XMenBTeam. That's who we are, I guess.
The ethos.
Yeah.
XMenBTeam.
Yeah, I guess so.
And a lot of your music kind of talks or discusses like sort of mental health stuff. In terms of like the writing process, do you kind of do the main bulk of it, or is it a group thing?
Yeah,
I think so. I kind of get I get a song, hash it out, bring it to the band. They say this works, this doesn't work, this song's great, this song's shit, whatever. Then I go away, and it's a collaborative thing.
I don't think we've ever been as direct as here's this song that I'm bearing my soul for you guys, right. And then we've gone, that's shit, mate. And then we veto it immediately. So should stress that before you think we're all utter muppets in that band.
Yeah. There's definitely been a couple of times where I've arrived with a song that I think is amazing, and we get 16 bars in, and we're just like, no. Back to the drawing board.
That happens, man.
Yeah. But it comes from a lot. Like I do like a lot of like spoken word type things. Like I write a lot of poetry and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes especially over the past year, it's more been I've written some words and then thought I'm going to put this to a song, or something like that. It's I don't know. They all come from vastly different places, and I feel like you can kind of you can hear that in the songs. Like there's definitely some songs that are like, well, that was a poem first, and there are other songs where I've come up with a hook or a groove and put something over the top of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it keeps it interesting, keeps it different, I guess.
And then when you are writing, are you always bearing the BTeam in mind, or is there like other things, like little pockets of stuff that you might, that's not a BTeam tune, but this could be something else?
Yeah. Well, I've got loads of other songs that kind of have never really seen the light of day, and that was something that I was going to do over lockdown. I was going to make a Sam Parry EP, and I got as far as putting some of them into Logic, and just never did it because you know, lockdown. I don't know. There was like I've heard a lot of people have been so productive over lockdown and just made all these amazing things and all this kind of stuff. Like we hit it quite hard at the beginning. Like we made a load of videos and put in some grand designs. We played like an online festival and all this kind of stuff. And then it just kind of, you know, when I don't know, you stop seeing the end of whatever it is, especially when it got to like kind of, I don't know, September, October, and then I just I was just like, I don't know, you get a kind of what's the point type thing because you can't ever see a return of live music or anything like that, and it's all well and good recording, but playing live's the thing that we do it for. I think I do it for, definitely.
Yeah. I probably agree with this comment, but like, since lockdown 1, we sort of started off pretty hard, and then, you know, it just sort of ebbed and flowed since then. Like, there were maybe new song ideas that got passed around, bounced around, but it's kind of when you couldn't see the end. Like, my big thing is playing live, so because I don't really write myself, I've just been waiting for that. So it's kind of tricky, especially like rehearsing stuff. It's like, when are we going to play it? Don't know, but we're getting there, I guess.
Or even like, when can we rehearse this?
When can we all be in the same room?
I think it probably goes back to that whole thing of like, I'll very rarely come to the band with, here's a song that I've written, we're going to play it like that. You know, it's always kind of, I always get so far with the song, and then I need the boys to give me some feedback and tell me where I'm going with it and stuff like that. And I think that's why the solo stuff never really kind of happened either.
Yeah, I think it's important to have someone to bounce off. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I definitely have that. It's like I can get like halfway through something, and then once you've listened to it 1,000 times, it's like, what the fuck do I do with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's just endless.
Do you write?
I've got more back in. I did when I was younger. And then I had my heart broken 1,000 times. And then and then
I don't know why I laughed immediately. I do apologise.
And then just kind of, I stopped for a while because I think I kind of gained this sort of like insecurity about it. I think we all had this thing. I've been reading a really interesting book at the moment called Art and Fear, which is all about that sort of stuff, about your self-doubt with creativity and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Good book.
I was saying to you the other day when we were recording in here, like when we first started playing my songs, it would be I'd get this feeling in the pit of my stomach, just like, what if people don't like what we're making? What if people get bored? What if they, oh god, and then that went away, and then we came in the other day to record the set, and I just remember thinking before it, like, what if these songs are boring? What if people don't want to hear about it, or all that kind of stuff? And like, it all just came back, and it was really odd.
It's weird, man.
It's crazy. I just had a conversation with Barney after rehearsing with him about like the exact same thing. So it's so universal, first of all. So you realise, okay, it's not my problem; it's just a problem. But I think the best way to address that is like, when you're really honest about what you're trying to do when you're coming in and performing those songs. You're only trying to reach people, you like connect with people, move people, and make other people's lives better. In even a small way, it's still significant. So if that's your intention and it doesn't work, like, come on, you still tried, like, you're still there, and it almost never happens anyway, does it? Like, the worst you think a performance is going to go, even if you come away from it feeling like it didn't go as planned, people still gain something from it. And the worst thing almost never happens, does it? Like, the thing that you dread when you go in, people are going to say it's really boring, people are going to laugh, we're going to hate it. You go in and it's like, people are like, wow, that was awesome, thank you. And then you go, oh, what was the last week of worry and torment inside my own head about leading up to that?
I think, have you ever Have you ever been booed off stage? Anyone?
No.
Ooh,
Can't say I have.
wait, hang on. Hang on. No, we did get booed. I just think of that gig at the Packet Inn.
Yeah.
That was what
They wanted us there, just not playing our original music.
Yeah.
They wanted the Stone Roses, and we couldn't provide that.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you been booed off stage?
Sort of, I guess not booed, but maybe actively ignored, which I don't know if that's better or worse. Like, at least if you're booing something, you feel passionate about it rather than completely indifferent. You know, I've said this in XMenBTeam and other stuff I do as well.
Yeah.
But like, I'm keen for somebody to come up and go, I really, really didn't like that because, and give me a reason, because it means that they've sort of considered it and then kind of really felt that strongly about it. Or, you know, obviously we're all aiming to be liked, aren't we?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
This guy came up to me once after a gig in, I don't know, I think it was somewhere in Cheshire, like, you know, where Stockport turns into Cheshire, that kind of area. And this guy just came up to me afterwards and he was just like, your songs are good, but your lyrics are a bit sad, aren't they? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit shit at the moment. I don't know, like, one of them in it. But then that's someone disagreeing with you, and that's cool. That's definitely cool. But yeah, it's just it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Like actively wanting someone to hate you rather than just, I don't know.
I should stress that's not what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
Or like when you set up to play in a bar, so like you get your guitar out and you get your mixer and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And people who are sat on the table next to you move immediately. They see they get your guitar out and immediately and they go, but they invariably always go and sit underneath a speaker on the other side of the bar.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got a little speaker coming out here that's probably not going to be that loud and is actually pointing away from you, but you're going to sit right underneath my voice over there. So here's Wonderwall, you dickheads. Indeed.
Yeah, it's that thing with creativity is like who are you writing it for? Do you know what I mean? Is it for yourself, or are you trying to reach someone? I guess for me, it's like if you write something that's meaningful for yourself, more than likely it's going to reach someone.
Yeah, definitely.
In that way, do you know what I mean? Rather than actively seeking to please other people, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to please most people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's like when you've got a problem with, I don't know, your computer or something like that, and you go on Google to try and find a solution because someone's always had that problem before.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm writing a song where I think like Two of Me, one of the songs in the set, like it's a song about how when depression takes over, you become someone else and you've turned into this, you know, other person. And I'm not the first person to feel like that.
No, definitely not.
And it's that kind of thing, isn't it? And if someone, I mean, when we played at Boomtown a couple of years ago, and someone came up to me a few weeks later, like we knew them from Manchester. He came up a few weeks later, and they were like, because I saw you guys, I've been to my doctor, I've been referred to the mental health nurse, I've got on antidepressants and all that kind of stuff. And like, I think that's the validation that you want when you write a song, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you want your through our shared experiences, we can make other people's lives a little bit better, maybe even like one person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know? Exactly. That's why being brave when you're writing, and the fact that you guys are so brave with it. Imagine no one did that, and people are just like sat around thinking, "Oh, I'm alone with this right now."
Yeah,
and that's just simply not true. But it needs people, and especially like doing that through art as well. Like, God knows what like music even is, but it's so meaningful, isn't it? It's such a big connection that we have to it. So when you combine those two things, and so you change someone's life there, and as well, like he told you, but not everyone else would tell you necessarily. So you think, how many other lives did you change? Yeah. And they've just gone about, you know, a little bit happier because of that. Like, just small moments. And beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful shit, man.
So, well, I mean, it comes back to the whole, you know, playing live. That's the whole thing, isn't it? Because there's that's the connection that you get, whether it's singing a song that you've written about being depressed, or a song that everyone can sing along. Like I joked about playing Wonderwall in a bar, but like we played it last week.
Yeah,
and it was just like
it's a good song. Man.
It was, but you
great
could,
song.
you could feel the energy of it, and you could feel like, you know, and it's true. Like music, whatever it is, like, I mean, I challenge you to find someone who doesn't know the words to one song.
Yeah,
at least one song, or like has a favourite song.
I mean, I've had a few passes at that on gigs. Don't get me wrong. Like, iPad goes blank, and you're just like, I've sung this song a million times. I don't know what year Summer was 69. I don't know. There was something there.
Or like you get to the state. It was if like we used to play in a bar in Nice, and we'd get to the end, and we always finished. We knew that we'd always finish on Al singing "Simply the Best," right?
Okay, yeah.
It's just what we do, obviously.
But then we'd get to like 2 songs before, and Al would just be there. I mean, sober as a judge.
Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with that.
Just there on his iPad, just like.
I know it's in here somewhere. Shout out for iPads saving musicians bacon many times over.
All around the world, man. All around the world.
Yeah, that was a really odd thing, wasn't it? Like when iPads first came out, and I don't know, everyone was like, "Oh, I've got an iPad. It's changed everything." And you're like, I'm going to stick to my book of music and my music stand, and I'm going to stand there. And then I got an iPad, and it changed everything. It really did.
It made me laugh when Sam and I lived together a couple of years ago. We were moving out and going through the office, and like, the room where all the music stuff was, and a lot of your important folders and all that. And you brought out this folder that's, you know, probably this thick, full of lyrics. And I was like, yeah, of course, that's what you do. I'm showing my age, but basically it's like, oh, right. And you'd written all the keys that you did everything in, and they'd be scribbling out and circling. And I was like, yeah, of course, that's
the way
what you do.
That's when we used to do it, when we got off our penny farthing and wound up the steam generator, poured it in, got the coals boiling, and then
I regret saying that.
Oh, dear.
You still use paper, Brad. You're one of the diehards, right?
I love using paper, man.
I use paper when I play D&D.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, we're not going to talk about D&D.
No, we're not. This is not a D&D podcast. I'm vetoing that.
D&D is one of those things that's intensely interesting to people who love D&D, but then
anyone else.
So boring.
These things.
I was going to say, God bless you for bringing it up and vetoing it. 'Cause I would have been like, you thought I didn't have a lot to say before. That would be, I wouldn't say a word for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm all on board with people enjoying it, but as soon as people like start to, I'm just like, come on, man, we're in the real world right now, like just like, you know,
the real world.
Like, can we not just talk about girls or something?
Yeah. Football.
Yeah.
Anything, man.
Anything but D&D.
I'll have you know that.
Not you.
Girls in D&D. Thank you very much.
You're the worst culprit for it, George.
I do.
Talking about your bloody D&D.
I'm not that bad.
Uh,
All right, well, I've been ousted, so I'll let you on.
Well, yeah. I love using paper, especially when I'm like storyboarding or like anything like that. It's just like, I don't know, I like or just even just work it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an iPad. Maybe that's why I like using paper.
Necessity is the mother of invention or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I like just be able to jot stuff down.
It's having. I just like you. I've got a book.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys know, but I've recently started coding. I don't really talk about it very much. But I've got a book. I've got a leather-bound book that I scribble things in when I need to scribble them, and it's really nice because you look through, and especially when you date things, you've got a nice book with the date of things that you did, and you can look back and say, oh, I was doing that day, or I was doing that day, and you know, it's like, I guess it's like the fun equivalent of going through your tax return, isn't it? Although that can be quite fun as well. Like when when you're going through your tax return and you're like, oh, 150 quid that night in Crazy Pedro's. That was a
business expense.
I spent £35 on Uber that day. Oh right, yeah, cool.
Even worse when you don't even remember. Crazy Pedro's, what?
I think from a creative standpoint, though, you can get a lot more out of what you write with a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Than what you
definitely.
can type down. But I'm really interested to try the iPad with the pencil. You know, because like, well, we built this set. Did you see my hand there? No. Yeah, you
No.
did. I don't normally sit here. George and I have swapped
Yeah, you
roles. for
swapped,
the
haven't
evening.
you?
We built this set. We built the panels. You know, we did all the building work, but you have to sketch that out on a piece of paper
Yeah.
to like know what
To
it's going to look like.
visualize.
And it would be really interesting to try that sort of thing with an iPad and pen, because I think that sort of application it would work. But writing down feelings and creating songs and the creative side
Yeah.
of things,
Yeah.
that's pen and paper, isn't it?
Definitely,
Yeah.
man.
Also, if you're having a particularly feelingful session writing on paper and you put your pen through the paper because it doesn't cost you a grand.
Yeah.
Or of course, pencil
like
when
to see
you're
you do that.
unsure.
Yeah. And also, like, I found my book of my lyrics books from it, because I used to busk when I was younger, and then I was like going through it. I used to play these, and then the back section, like the back folder, was just like all of my like lyrics that I'd written from my like when I was like younger, just like all of them, all like fucking scruffy as fuck. But it's just nice to have that like physical thing, and you can see like little doodles that you did and all that. You know, I like that sort of thing.
Were your teenage lyrics terrible?
Oh, unbelievably bad. Man.
It's
so bad.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I looked through. I don't think I wrote a song that I was proud of, that I'm proud of now, until I was about 24. Like there was definitely like you could, but then you can tell, like I've got tiny little moleskin notebooks that have got manuscript paper in them. I've got 4 of those that are just full of like terrible lyrics.
Bad ideas. Yeah. That's great, man.
So I have an interesting little
go on, George.
take on this.
Go on.
Which is, whenever I'm writing lyrics, I do it in a little bit of a, I don't know, I think Maurizio told us how to do this.
Go on.
But it's basically like, I'll just do it whenever I'm reading or like doing something like that. I'll just like, if there's a line which I find particularly
He writes on a book that's already been written.
no, I'll just
scribbles it out. I reckon that they should have said.
Tipexed out an entire Harry Potter and just like,
yeah, I just rip mine like J.K. Rowling scribbled it out and put George.
George's version of No, go on, George. What were you saying?
No, but what I do, I just like take them little things that I think are inspiring, and I'll just like write them down, and then maybe I'll make a song out of them in the future. Like I've got a couple here that I did. Like I found, which was like, oh god, some of these are very depressing.
Go on, George. Give us one.
Let me find one. Here we go. So here's one. Every new beginning comes from another beginning's end. Or richness exists not in the extent of my possessions, but in the fewness of my wants.
fucking
You know?
hell.
Well, I know.
Very
Wow,
deep.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, innit?
We used to do that, didn't we, with all the steel stuff?
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Steel
Oh, yeah.
words.
I remember.
Blast from the past.
Yeah.
Blast from the past, man.
Yeah. It's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. Right, going back to the BTeam stuff.
Yes.
Are there like particular artists or bands that you kind of draw your influence from?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like my biggest influence, certainly recently, because XMenBTeam started out by being very much kind of an acoustic band. Like,
Right.
I was a singer-songwriter. I got a band around me and stuff like that. And so that was stuff like I was listening to a lot of like Passenger
Okay.
and stuff like that at the start. You know, that kind of like a hip hop beat with ska and stuff like that. Like that was where it went. But then I think my whole maybe the past like 7 or 8 years, I've basically just wanted to sound like Gentleman's Dub Club.
I don't think I've ever listened to them, man.
Oh, they're well, I mean, they're amazing. Like just kind of like massive dub soundscapes. Like just they're just amazing. Like they just sound. I think I saw them on one of their first ever gigs in Manchester.
Right.
Like they had their 10-year anniversary couple of years ago. So like I saw like when I first came to uni, like I saw them and they were just like absolutely blew my mind. So it was those guys, and there's I think we've got kind of a it's like a Bristol-esque sound. So there are loads of like that kind of bands. So like there's Cut Capers and Lazy Habits, and they're just like big old scary party band type things. But with lyrics that talk about being sad and stuff like that. Like there's a band called Tankus and the Henge who they're
very familiar with them.
They're fucking amazing. Like they've got this. Their lead singer is like, I mean, you know when you get the beautiful man, he takes his top off and there's like perfection here from here to here. Yes. Amazing. But like they've got it must be so annoying. Like they've got an upright piano that's obviously got like a fake piano in it. Right. But when he pushes it back, there's smoke machines in there. So like he pushes it back and there's smoke comes out and it's awesome. But they've got such a sound, like and it is that kind of, so that kind of influence. Like it's always been, I feel like we're very much a kind of festival band.
Right. Yeah.
Like with I mean, hopefully one day that'll change, but like we're very much the kind of band that people stumble across at a festival, have a great time for like 45 minutes and then follow us from there, like that kind of thing. Like I think that it's very much like, again, it's just the live experience. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think that and obviously just going to festivals over the years, just that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted the band to sound like.
Yeah.
And so we had like we kind of went a little bit metal. We went a little bit the other way, like a little bit heavy.
Okay.
Which there's still some of that there, but now we've kind of come out of that, and we're definitely like kind of focusing on the the party
vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Party vibes.
Party vibes.
There's a huge range of influences, isn't it? Like in your band, just when you go across all and like everyone's definitely got like a little pocket niche. I'd say that probably no one else in that band has to the same extent.
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, we'll talk about mine. Like Al's got the
oh, we're going to address the elephant in the room. Right.
The progressive elephant.
So that's your hat, Al?
It was my hat. So basically, Sam gave me it as a present. You found it where? In
at a car boot sale. Rummage on the Range. Carlton Club. Awesome. Every month. Car boot sale. Amazing.
Sick.
And basically Sam gifted me that when I met up at his house before we came here to do the session that everyone will see in a minute.
Yeah.
And I just thoughtfully left it on his couch and forgot to bring it. I know. And for that, I'd like to say live on the podcast, I'm very sorry.
Oh.
And thank you for bringing it back.
It's I like it. I like the message, man.
It's a strong message, and I think it's important as a prog fan for other prog fans to understand that it's all right to like prog. Like actually, since lockdown, there was a sort of shameless kind of return to form for me getting back into prog, because for a while it was sort of like a dirty thing to be into.
Yeah.
And there's a few of us, like locally, a few Manchester guys who are all into the same sorts of bands, and
including John, the drummer.
Yeah.
Like
so there's like getting back into playing. I was a big fan of Rush. I'm not going to talk about it for too long. Don't worry.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for gold.
Oh, well, so anyway, my favourite 20 albums. But yeah, so like going back and listening to all that sort of thing, it was kind of reconnecting with what I really enjoyed about playing music and that sort of thing. And it was listening to music for the sake of just enjoying it rather than having to learn it or having to, get something from it to then apply to something else. Mm-hmm. And it's been quite good fun to get back into the prog stuff. I've been showing you a couple of things, and I think you liked some of that.
I made a terrible mistake last summer.
All right.
So Al and I spent last summer delivering beer for Shindigger. Shout out to Shindigger. I was like, and so obviously, like, you're spending like 10 hours on your own in a car delivering beer, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, right, well, do you know what? These guys have been banging on about it for such a long time. I'm gonna
Give it a go.
I'm gonna listen.
It's making me angry. Even you bringing
I'm
this
gonna
up.
I'm gonna listen to some Rush.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I got the Spotify playlist. This is Rush. Play, and I messaged Al and I was like, I'm not getting it, man. I'm just not getting it. And what came back to me was probably the angriest Al has ever been.
Are you serious?
I tend not to be so angry.
Honestly, like you've never been shouted at like Al shouting at you about prog.
No.
Really?
He was like, but I mean, fair play. Like he was like, why are you listening to a best of playlist? They're a prog rock band. Like the whole point of prog is that everything comes in like there aren't real. I mean, obviously they've got to promote themselves for singles and stuff like that. But like, it's not about singles, is it? It's about it's about or if they've got like a banger, and they do have bangers, they definitely do. Like it's about what that banger is within the context of the album. So if you're just listening to all their bangers out of context, it sounds disjointed and weird and stuff like that. And also like there's the earlier Rush where they're dressing up in capes and singing about wizards and
Yes.
Also great. What's wrong with capes?
D&D, bro.
I was gonna link this to D&D because basically, I don't know. I guess it's that kind of ethereal world bigger than yourself, that sort of thing. When I was younger and I was well into it, I mean, my dad was into prog, and that's why I got onto it. So Rush, Kansas, I don't know, Camel,
Journey.
Yes.
Journey don't count, I'm afraid. They're an
really?
album-oriented rock band.
Well, like,
This could be a podcast on its own, so come to my podcast.
would you say like Pink Floyd as well? Go that way?
Pink Floyd as well.
Okay,
Not quite as much as the others, but definitely in there in the mix. But yeah, I would say that's my sort of version of this. Like as a teenager, I wasn't as into like sort of songs about girls and you know.
You can tell.
Be nice.
Sorry. I apologize.
So
I'm sorry. You look at you.
yeah, all of that. So that my point being. This was only going to go this way, you know that.
Oh God!
All right, lads, let's get a brew. Al's going to talk.
Go on now. What were you saying?
Right.
Go on.
My point being, there's songs about bigger things, about like sort of alternate universes, about I don't know, like you say, wizards and capes. There's an element of that, but also like just the idea of something bigger than yourself, like rather than sort of being quite focused in what you know around you, like your surroundings and all that. It's bigger than that. It's quite sci-fi-esque, or it draws from sort of I don't know, poetry and like
mythology and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like, but then also with the kind of like rock element that sort of links it back to being, I don't know, grounded in that way.
Yeah.
But I'd say that listening to prog when I was younger,
Rush is grounded. Is that what you're saying?
in a way.
In a way. But yeah, I'd definitely say that my prog sort of influence when I was younger has definitely informed the way I play in XMenBTeam and other stuff as well. Like, just basically trying to turn everything a little bit more rocky than the person initially wanted, and not being scared of time signatures should they appear, which is, I think is fair enough. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
I'll now drink a beer, thank you.
That's the prog section of the podcast. Back to the
No, it's not.
That's what you thought.
But no, I'm. But as I said, like I having listened to. What was the album that you gave to me?
I recommended Snakes and Arrows by Rush, which was an album that came out in about 2007 or so quite late.
Amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that what we arrived at was that the most important thing for me in rock music is tone.
Yeah.
So like that album just has like absolute tone for days in the guitars, you know what I mean, like that.
Right. Okay.
That's what I want. Like, and I think if you layer up 10 guitars and play it to me, I'll be like, that sounds fucking. That's it, mate. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big old tube amp, just like breaking up, just sweet chorus, like all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
But all of that. So that's what it is, and I guess that's like, the quality of the sound
Yeah.
The not the quality of the sound, because it's no the quality isn't any different. But I mean, you can say what you want about, like, they in the 70s, obviously they didn't have what they had in
tech,
there. Yeah. They didn't have that at their disposal. But yeah, I definitely like I think the alternative music that I grew up with was definitely kind of, because I didn't have the dad into prog. Like my parents listened to Mozart, and we had classic FM on all the time. So I'll talk to you about Rachmaninoff's piano preludes and all that kind of stuff. Like,
I've not heard that, man. How's that going?
Yeah, I probably couldn't anymore. But but yeah, so like I guess I kind of came to that kind of music my own way, and so that was when I was young. That was I don't know, Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and all that kind of stuff. But like, it still means a lot. You know, like whatever it is that you're into, it still shapes you as a person.
Yeah. And like, I should say at this point that when Sam went off and sort of listened to Rush, there was one shift where we were both working at Shindigger, so we both pulled up, loaded the beers into the car, and then went, right, we're ready to go, off we go to deliver the beers. I get a phone call from Sam just as I pulled out the unit, saying, right, today I want you to listen to, and which album was it? It was Second, was it Sum 41? No, it wasn't that.
I mean, it might have been.
Yeah.
All Killer, No Filler.
Yeah, well, it was,
album,
but the one I really resonated with, there was an album by Incubus. Which one was that?
Science by Incubus.
Right.
That's amazing. Like, yeah.
So like, while I was doing that, Sam then listened to a different album that I'd recommended that was perhaps a little bit more. It was a little bit more modern. It was like Frost or something.
Frost, that was
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Frost, okay.
I don't know that one.
But it was quite a good vehicle, again, because like, it was good to listen to something and not necessarily have to know exactly what the bass part was or learn the lyrics for something. Like, you could just be absorbed in the whole album and just sort of really enjoy it. I mean, albeit pausing it when you got outside people's houses to make deliveries, but it's still... Yeah. It was really good, that sort of period of time. Like, since then, I've been listening to podcasts when I drive, and really, I should get back on the music stuff. Yeah. But it's,
there was definitely like a clarity when you're out there delivering beers. Like, I mean, obviously, I don't know about you guys, but March last year definitely saw a horrendous loss of purpose.
Yeah.
Because just like literally every single thing that I had in the diary was gone.
Yeah.
It just went. No furlough. No, I mean, we were on universal credit for the whole time, and all that kind of stuff. And like, there was just this kind of helplessness about the way it all was. And so we got this job at Shindigger, and there was this few months where it was just like, it was bliss, because I was like, right, well, I listened through Pink Floyd's entire back catalogue one day.
Right.
Just because,
Really?
I felt a bit
I didn't know that.
Felt a bit weird afterwards,
cool.
man.
I mean, you will.
both sides of the wall, driving your car on your own. You get.
I've been there. You get used to it as well.
But I adored it. I loved it because there was, especially being a professional musician for so long, it's very easy to lose what you love about music.
Yeah, definitely.
You lose what the most important thing about music is.
Definitely.
And so it was nice to, like, I realised I'd never listened to Appetite for Destruction all the way through. So I did. Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah.
Just really loud, driving through Sale, offending people. Really loud music. And it was great.
Here's a question for you. It was kind of touched upon with Rush, but what was the first album that you bought that was, I'm going to say, so for us, it was probably Busted McFly. I'm going to say after that. And so not one that your parents bought for you.
I see.
As in one you bought
one
yourself?
One that you bought yourself. What was the first
As an avid
album?
Busted McFly fan, I am now slightly nervous about my answer.
Because like, you always, at some point, I don't know whether you're like 11, 12, 13, that sort of age, your parents buy you an album.
Yeah.
Because you start getting into music. But what was the first one that you bought yourself?
Dookie by Green Day.
Great answer.
Oh yes.
I went and I bought Dookie and Nimrod by Green Day from the guy in the basement of the Corn Exchange in Leeds. There was a guy with a stall with all the CDs, And yeah, I went and I bought Dookie and Nimrod by Green Day, and just went home, and immediately, within like a week, I could play them all back to front, on guitar, singing. Like obviously on a council estate, or not on an estate that my parents lived on, just like PV Bandit, wrapped up, toned for days, and just like absolutely smacking out Green Day for months. And that was it.
Yeah,
sick. What about you, Al?
So I guess I mentioned before that my dad obviously informed my music taste quite a lot when I was growing up. Quite a lot of progressive rock, but the first album I actually bought was I used to buy singles because I'd like that song, like CD singles. So I'm going to discount them first.
Okay.
But the first album I bought was How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb by U2.
Oh, strong.
Which is the one with Vertigo on it.
And Beautiful Day and...
I don't know about Beautiful Day.
Beautiful Day is on Beautiful Day, isn't it?
It might
is
be,
it?
yeah. I don't know. I've not explored U2 that much. So
That's it. I don't know what it was about that song, but I just wanted the album with that song on it, and there was a lot of good stuff afterwards on... I can't remember the other titles. I haven't listened to it for years, but like... first album I bought, definitely from like HMV in York or something. But yeah.
You should go back to that album, man. That's one of the best things ever, isn't it? Like revisiting an old album, sitting with it like you would when you were 14 or whatever, and being like, oh my God.
Well, that's what we did with Science.
Yeah.
Isn't it? When I told Al to play that Incubus album, okay, what album do you wish you could hear for the first time again?
Oh.
If someone got the Men in Black pen and just went, yeah.
I would go, I know Jeff Buckley's great because I remember the first time that I listened to it. It was in our second year of college, and I had like this little back room which had this weird little corridor, and then like my room was at the end. And I remember just like, I can't even remember who suggested it to me, but I put it. I think it was, I might have had Spotify at that time. I don't know. I just sat at my desk and put it on. And I just couldn't believe it. Like just from the first like note, and just like, and I just went on a fucking journey, man, for like however like 45 minutes or whatever it was.
Eternal Life. I remember the first time I heard Eternal Life by Jeff Buckley. I was just like,
I literally couldn't, because obviously before that, like I was just like, oh, fucking Jeff Buckley, the guy that did Hallelujah, big what we do. Do you know what I mean? And then I put that album on, and I couldn't believe it. Like I just rinsed it for like weeks and weeks and weeks on end, just like So I'd say that album again, but I still get that little tingle. You know what I mean? When I put it on,
it can catch you off guard.
It still like blows me away every time. But yeah, I just remember that being a really visceral experience.
And when one song finishes and you're already singing the next song by the time,
Go on, Matt, what about you?
I'd probably say Benji for Sun Kill Moon, just because same thing, man. Just total eye opener. Like I found it really hard to believe. Like I think it's probably just finding present, like being really, really present with music, and then being able to hold it is probably the way I describe it. So not getting distracted. You notice it's really, really hard to sit through a whole song without getting distracted, without your mind wandering.
Definitely.
But if you get through like song after song after song, and you're really, really holding it, that it's just a beautiful experience, man. That album still inspires me, like just the kind of general sound that I hear, that I imagine, that I want to go for, in terms of like the guitars and like the layers and the tuning, just the melodies, everything about it, basically. Just, I don't know. It's funny how music resonates with you, isn't it? Because I could play it to you guys, and you might be like, "Oh, that's okay," or you might be thinking, "Oh, that's beautiful." But then some people as well, it just hits them in a whole other way. You know?
If it's what you need at that exact moment,
I think that was it. There was like the place I was in, and maybe the things I was thinking about, and then like the themes and lyrics and stuff. It all just seems to add up. And it basically adds up to just being there and being like, it's like this guy's inside my head right now or something. Like he understands me. So yeah, Benji, I'd go for.
What about you, Al?
Album I could hear it. Well, I had a similar thing with
Busted,
no, not Busted or McFly.
Busted's eponymous album.
Yes, a present for everyone by Busted. Similar to you, Brad. In first year of college, I really got into Pino Palladino for the first time as a bass player, and then went off on one, basically following a lesson with, again, the great Maurizio.
Yes.
And basically discovering this 80s fretless powerhouse and all the octopedal stuff and all that kind of thing. So there wasn't particularly an album, I guess, but I just went off on one, and there was one night where I just stayed up adding new tracks. Like, oh god, there's another one. So various things by like Paul Young, Phil Collins was in there, of course.
Even up to even like people like Adele and stuff like.
Yeah, I mean, like he's the ultimate like Swiss Army knife bass player, which is why I'm, sort of. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his, and the album I guess that I go to with that is something called The Shouting Stage by Joan Armour Trading.
I don't know if I heard
which
that.
It's a great album, like really, really good. You should check it out. I feel so uncomfortable doing that.
More of that.
I remember hearing. I think it was there was a comedy troupe called the. They were called the Reduced Shakespeare Company, and they did this thing where they were presenting like the plays about kings,
right?
Like Richard III and all that kind of like all the Shakespeare's plays. They were doing them as a football match,
right?
And like they were like, and now we go to the halftime show, and this halftime show is sponsored by Joan Armour Trading all the time.
Like this, or jokes about buying suits of armor. Like I've heard someone say something about Joan Armour. I don't know. It's all there somehow. But yeah, this album. Is this going to happen every time I bring something up?
Sorry.
Sorry. No, I'm joking. But yeah, the thing with that album again, it's similar sort of caliber session musicians to Pino, with like Mark Knopfler plays on that album, like on the title track. He does a solo and stuff, and then there's I can't remember who the drummers and keys players are, but again, it's like massive names that you're like, oh wow, okay, fair enough. But they're really, really heartfelt songs, and really, like you said before, that sort of like tingle that you get from listening to something that really gets me. And I've gone back to that recently.
It's
as
hard
well.
to describe, isn't it? It's annoying using words. So you just want to like give it to someone else and be like, you know that feeling. And
Yeah,
go,
definitely.
I know that feeling. It's universal.
What about you, Sam?
Shit.
And we'll take the piss out of you. When you say
I'm really sorry. I'm
Let's leave that there. Let's not keep going.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
I love you as a friend.
Oh.
And colleague.
Mine, there's a band called the Cooper Temple Claws.
Okay.
So like kind of early 2000s, there was like this wash of kind of awesome. I don't know. It was like indie but glam rock fused. There was a band called My Vitriol. Maybe it was My Vitriol. I don't know, but like they had an amazing album called Alpha Waves that blew my mind. Like I heard it just before I went to my first ever festival, and I crowd surfed to their big song. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever crowd surfed, and I lost my phone and my wallet and like couldn't find my friend's phrases and all that kind of stuff. But fuck it, I crowd surfed. It was sick. But no, there's a band called the Cooper Temple Claws who I guess like they were the first band that like I bought all of their albums, and I bought all of their albums from start to finish because they stopped making music at some point. But yeah, their first album that I bought it's called See This Through and Leave, and it starts off with a song called Do You Miss Me, and it's just this ethereal thing that's like absolutely beautiful with like all these harmonies and stuff like that, and then like this big guitar riff comes in, and it's just like all the way through it was there's synths, there's guitars, there's vocals everywhere and stuff like that. And I remember just like I bought it because I liked the look of the album cover because it looked like there's an Eminem album with a house on it, and it also had a house on it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to buy that. So I bought it and went home and listened to it, and I was like, holy fuck, this is amazing. And I listened to it start to finish about, I don't know, well, I mean, like months, literally months. I just sat there like listening to this song, to this entire album. Like didn't even learn how to play any of it or anything like that because I almost didn't want to, because like there was just this mystique about this album, and it was wonderful. And I went to see Cooper Temple Claws. Well, from maybe about 2005 to when they finished, I went to see them every time they played in Manchester.
Wow, nice.
They were out there. Yeah, so it's that one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can we pull up that album? That's why I'm interested to see what the album art was. Was it Cooper Temple Claws?
The Cooper Temple Claws. See This Through and Leave.
See This Through and Leave.
It's just a picture of a house at night. Yeah, so they had some amazing things, but then I think that was as well coming from you were either rock or you liked the piano Yeah,
Right.
you know, not prog, but you know, whatever. But like from my understanding, because I grew up listening to punk music, so it was either punk music or dance music. But then they kind of fused the two.
Have we got it there?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at that. Oh, nice.
I was just so engaged by that album cover.
I like it.
There's a lot to look at, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I feel like in like modern day stuff. Like I feel like album artwork is really overlooked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the physical thing of
Yeah,
having...
like one of my favorite album artworks is the Fleet Foxes' first album,
Oh,
which is like kind of this.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of period kind of painting it is.
Yeah.
But it's just one of them where there's just like a fucking million things different.
Can you put it
going
up,
on.
James?
Yeah, can you put on the Fleet Foxes' first album? It's just self-titled.
And that album.
Oh, that album's
like
just
sonically-
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
God
like just a
damn it.
masterpiece.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's that's one thing we do kind of we overlook now because obviously on Spotify now it's just a tiny little,
You don't-
square in the corner, isn't it? You don't really think about it.
I'm really bad for listening to, like, I'll get on my Spotify and I'll be like, daily mix with these artists that you know, cool, and then you just get all the songs that you've heard before, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, and you hear a song you don't know, you're like,
Next.
get out.
Yeah.
It's true, man. That's it there, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
I don't know what kind of style of paint. Can we zoom in a little bit on that, James, just so I can see it a little bit better?
Because you don't ask much, do you?
Yeah, go on. But you know what I mean? It's one of them where there's just there's
look
so
at it.
much stuff going on. I'd say it's such a beautiful album, and I've got like the vinyl of it, and the inlay, like the booklet thing, just tells you about what the album's about and all that, which I had no idea about until I'd listened to it loads, and I bought the. Would you say vinyl or the record?
The LP.
The LP.
Yeah.
I bought it and I just read like just all the band like speak about what they think the album's about and all that. And I was just like, there's so much more. I love that craft of an album in a physical thing.
And it is
you know what I mean?
definitely something that's, like you say, been lost sort of over time with different mediums and that sort of thing. I had that with buying CDs and stuff like that. And you going in and
booklets.
discovering more so who's played on, like maybe not, what am I trying to say? So like the bands who played on each of the songs.
Yeah.
Like so-and-so on this, so-and-so on that, and then discovering a route through all that as to where else they played, what else they've done. But yeah, just with album artwork, just thinking about it, like our stuff that we've done, the XMenBTeam EPs, although we say that there's not as much focus on it now, like I think I've really enjoyed, I enjoyed the process of putting those together.
Yeah.
I think they're a bit more interesting than, perhaps other people doing that sort of thing because, we had a sort of theme that we carried through with us on the cover and all that sort of thing. I quite enjoyed the process of like designing those.
Can we have a look at those, James?
Yeah.
Can we have a look at the where they're just?
I don't know.
Would they
Maybe
be on there somewhere?
Maybe XMenBTeam Team Spirit is the best one. So that's our last
Is
one.
that the football?
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that one. Man. See if I
this
can find
is-
the pull it.
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
Okay.
All right.
and the other one's there as well.
The other one
So yeah,
is
this is a famous photo of when Spain won the World Cup for the first time. So that's Iker Casillas holding the World Cup.
Yeah, Sam, do you want for the people on the audio podcast, do you want to describe what the album looks like?
So
It's fucking brilliant. Man. It's so good.
this
That's John.
this is a picture of Spain winning the World Cup.
Right.
When they won the World Cup for the first time, it was like the greatest team ever. It was Xavi, it was Fernando Torres, David Villa, Iker Casillas in goal, Sergio Ramos, like these incredible football. And it was like when everyone was like England's going to win the World Cup and they never did. They were like that with Spain, and they fucking did. They won 2 World Cups on the bounce and all that kind of stuff. But this was the first time they won it, and so basically we've superimposed everyone. So we've got all the different members of the band, and we've replaced the World Cup with a burrito.
I never noticed the burrito before. That's great.
But if you look to the far left, that's Luke, who produced and engineered the album.
Oh, nice.
And then if you'd like to go to the right-hand side, that's
Just go via John. That's all right. Yeah.
Scroll right.
right to the right-hand side. I mean, you've got
There's
George and
Liam,
Liam, but
yeah.
then that's Stu, who who designed the logo. And then if you'd like to go kind of southwest a little bit, past Jamie, south past Jamie, that's Charlie there.
Yeah.
Who is chilling with the president of the African Football Federation.
I was going to say, I thought that was Ainsley Harriott. Why is Ainsley Harriott?
But yeah, so that's Charlie who did all the photoshopping, who actually did the computer work. So it like that was pretty much everyone who was involved on the album.
That's cool.
Is there in this kind of, and yeah, so like I've always wanted to like instill this kind of thing about XMenBTeam, about being a team.
Yeah,
like that's the whole thing. It's not just. It always used to be. It's like, oh, that's Sam's band, but it was really nice when it did change at one point, didn't it?
There was. I was going to say that earlier. There was definitely a shift from when Sam was saying about writing as a singer-songwriter and then presenting us with sort of, God bless you, folders with the music for us to play, and you get a sort of Sam in the middle singing his heart out while 5 musicians around would be staring at these notes on the page ready to play it. I'm so glad we got beyond that to actually, talking about the band and writing for the band. And I was talking to somebody else about this earlier, writing for specific players rather than just this is what the bass part will do and this is what the drum part will do.
Or getting the individual players to buy equipment so that you could...
I was going to wonder if you would bring this up on a fairly light-hearted, frivolous.
So basically, there's a song on Fresh Legs, which is the one before Team Spirit. It's called Glass Houses, and it's got this bass part, right? And all I wanted to do, I wanted the bass part to go, wham, right? Mm-hmm. No idea how to get it done, whatever, anything like that. So Al and I, it was very much in the infancy of our friendship, wasn't it?
It was. I'd estimate about June or July 6 years ago.
Okay. It was the night that the Shires played at Manchester Academy.
Yes, it was. And night. We all went to have a watch and then got to Black Dog and we got drunk afterwards, which was quite good fun, of course.
And so I'd had it in my head all night that I was going to get Al to get this pedal, so I got him to get a Mooga Fooga envelope filter.
I know the one.
Guy, yeah. And I really wanted him to get it, like really wanted, and I was just like, I need to get him to get it tonight. So, cute.
I didn't realise it was predetermined.
Oh yeah. So cue us at. I don't know.
It was Black Dog.
It was Black Dog at 2 o'clock in the morning, sat on the sofa. Al had 0% battery on his thing, just on PayPal. And I was like, go on, get it. Go on, get it. And we didn't know because he clicked buy and then his phone ran out of battery.
This is all honest to God.
And then I remember speaking to you the next day, or I text you like, how's it going? Any regrets about last night? And he was like, no, yeah, it's fine.
I've got a bit of a sore head, I think. I messaged him, a bit of a sore head, nothing I can't handle. And then
it just goes, oh my God, what did you make me do?
Check my emails and discover, like, congratulations, you bought an envelope filter for more than you would have liked as a student. £250 pedal.
Brutal.
But then it didn't come for a bit. It came maybe a couple of weeks later, and then I was like, oh God, right, yeah, this thing. Because up until this point, I hadn't really been an effects guy at all.
Okay.
And I think, if I may say, it's become something of a kind of hallmark of what I'm about.
Yeah, man.
Which has been a worthwhile investment, albeit a fairly irresponsible thing to make your friend do. But that's,
no regrets, man.
No regrets.
Let's get out the book of things that Sam has made Al do under duress.
We say that for the second half.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue. You've been doing this for a little while now.
Oh, that's funny. Right, I reckon we'll go for a little performance segment now.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I'm going to tell our audience about our gig that we're putting on Friday.
Oh my God, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. So we've got Big Society. We've got Kirk McKellany. I can never remember how to say his name. Kirk McKellany? Close enough. Something like that. And we've got Chris Wiseman Revolution. These 3 bands, honestly, when we were recording them, because I'd not really listened to the other 2. I know Big Society, but I'd not really listened to the other 2. And like when we were recording, I was just like, fuck, these guys are good. Like, they're really just awesome. So we're going to be doing it this Friday from 7 o'clock. We're going to be having Will in the studio. We're going to interview him. We're going to interview the other guys. And Harry's coming in as well, which would be nice.
Exactly the same sort of thing as this. That's
singer and bass player.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I really encourage you guys to come and check that out because I think it's going to be a really fun evening. We're going to be running it all on a donation basis to help for like putting it on. And also, we run all of this on a donation basis. So if you're enjoying tonight's episode or any of the previous episodes, then there's a PayPal link in our description and probably in the YouTube live chat. So if you want to help us out with putting this stuff on, that'd be awesome.
And these guys work so hard. They work so hard at doing this. So give them some.
Get it done.
Give them some bloody money. Give them,
Thank you, Sam.
No, you're welcome.
Much appreciated. So, Sam, Al, and John, who's not here, not with us anymore. Not like that.
Did you get a text I didn't get?
That's when Robbie Williams always used to say, and this used to be my nan's favourite song, and everyone would be like, oh, and he's like, no, she's not dead. It's just not a favourite song anymore.
Great.
Oh dear. So yeah, 3 members of XMenBTeam came in a couple of days ago, and they recorded a set for us, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It's nice to have a little band set up in here because obviously it's normally acoustic. Is there anything you wanted to say to the audience about the set before they watch it?
Be kind. Please enjoy. XMenBTeam.
XMenBTeam.
All one word. All one word.
All one word. You heard it here first. So
no, you didn't.
No, probably not. But, you know. So I hope you enjoy the set that they played for us. We're going to be back in a little bit, probably talking some more nonsense. Enjoy the set, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi, we are half of XMenBTeam, and welcome to the Kicking Bass.
Kicking bass.
John, count in, please. Go. Hello, we are half of XMenBTeam, and welcome to the Kicking Back podcast. Recently there's been a change of guard marching right underneath my nose. This guy took us all by surprise by turning up with his black dog on my face and clothes. He sits right behind my eyelids and waits till the time is right for him to spark and kindle a fire coming up from the darkness deep within. Oh, watch out! Now let's call him Sample McSamwell, cause I'm sure that he's not me. As cunning as low-key conniving, as Joker vindictive as Joffrey. When the moment is right, he strikes, and I bite, and no matter how hard I try, by the time that he sung his swan song, it's too late, and everyone started to cry. Now there's two of me, existing in one body. Yeah, there's two of me, in my split personality. Now the best test or method to express empirically the way McSamwell carries out his most dastardly schemes is to use some examples of Sample using his clamp to pull my body away from me. It reads like a horror movie, some sort of Hitchcock flick, one of those twitch and you'll miss things at quick shift a click. The switch comes upon me and I act like a dick, but I digress, let's sit back and watch it. Now once upon a fling there was becoming a thing, I almost fell in LOVE. And cantankerous Sample couldn't handle the angle, I was almost on the verge of being happy. Sammy, this brain ain't big enough for 3 of us. I mistrust this person you're inviting in to meet us. It seems that she cares and she wants you to be happy, but I'll just disappear if you stop feeling clappy. So he clicks his fingers, the dog bites and she's injured, runs screaming off into the night. And Sample wins again and keeps a hold of his friend and gives himself a big high five. Now there's two of me, existing in one body. Yeah, there's two of me, in my split who exists in your brain, who shares your frame, your minds and your bed. And this uninvited guest begins to mess with your head and delights in turning your eyesight red. If you have a sample who pulls the wool over your eyes and you're surprised when you arrive back in the room and everyone's crying and upset from something bad that you've said, this needn't be a portent of your doom. Cause you could struggle and fight it, try to deny him. You have a might inside you could use for this end, and the trust is of time was just a little maligned, and all he wants is to be your best friend. Duh. Now there's two of me existing in one body. Yeah, there's two of me, my split personality. Yeah. Ooh. My yeah, but now, oh yeah, in my split personality. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was. Now we're going to sing a song called Major Key. Go. To me, when I went to her with a head that's full of the world and its folly, it's not enough to extol the virtues of life that's lived fully. And what you need to do, my son, is live life in a major key. I know the devil's waiting room is filling every day with monsters, demons and hypocrites who are the ones who have the say. But while you feel so helpless due to their lack of morality, help the ones around you to live life more happily. When it feels like the world's against you, son, you must listen to me. Love your way through heartache and wear it on your sleeve. And when the world's are nightmares, son, and you just don't believe, throw off all your sorrows and live life in a major key. When the point of view of our leaders is the view from the elite, and houses being built are for the people on the street. Anti-social housing loopholes litter the concrete, and so the homeless stay there and can't find any reprieve. And so my son, she said to me, as if this is what you find, the most likely way young people leave this earth is suicide. You can't change the way the world works immediately, but talk and listen to each other and try to spread belief. When it feels like the world's against you, son, you must listen to me. Love your way through heartache and wear it on your sleeve. And when your dreams are nightmares, son, and you just don't believe,
Thank you very much. Yeah, so this next song is all about not being a dick. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a dick. Some people never change. Some people think other ways. Some people hate that you love to create and instead seek to devastate. But I've got a plan for you. Some words that will always ring true. When your halo slips, then your mantra is this from your lips. Mate, don't be a dick. Hey, you can save time and energy by using your efforts more positively. If you're obsessed with unhappiness, this is the trick. Mate, don't be a dick. So what you want to graph? I'll put it in a picture. Give you a list of the bits that you missed. Yeah, using your fists to get in people's heads is a tip. Right, use the thing between your ears and not your legs. Hate breeds hate, anger breeds fighting, striking and biting. Might seem quite frightening. Maybe I might try shining a light because I don't think you're sticking with the tagline, right? It's not that hard to do, it's not that difficult to see it through. If another person isn't hurting you, then let them do what they want to do. If you can't see past the colour or creed, then maybe you're not the one that needs to change. Cause then that is you, and this song will tell you what to do. You can save time and energy by using your efforts more positively. If you're obsessed with unhappiness, this is the trick. Mate, don't be a dick. In the world that you live in is going to shit. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick when the people that you idolize are all fucking thick. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. If you could be the twist, but you're choosing to stick. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. If you worship the sun, you need to listen to this. Total eclipse. Don't be a dick. Oh, you could save time and energy by using your efforts more positively. If your obsession is teaching a lesson to others who learn from a different script, then you need to review what your point of view is, cause it's shit. Don't be a dick. Thank you very much. And now as our final song, we have a brand new one for you to enjoy. John's getting his mic on. In a world where nothing is real, spare a thought for that, my dear. If you search, you can find what you like, but what's real ain't always what's right. So please keep on, keep on. When you don't feel strong, I beg you, keep on. waste no time on looking back, 'cause you can't change the past. Hold the lessons you've learned, 'cause they are all that last. So please keep on, keep on. When you don't feel strong, I beg you, keep on. When the light isn't bright and you're willing to fight through the night, but inside you are scared, please hold on. You've got nothing to prove and it's starting to move, and the future is there if you choose to keep on. So keep on, keep on. When you don't feel strong, I beg you, keep on. So keep on, keep on. When you don't feel strong, I beg you, keep on. On the YouTube, the Spotify, the Facebook, the Instagram, XMenBTeam, all one word, www.xmenbteam.com, and generally probably drinking in many various bars around Manchester. But thank you very much.
And welcome back to episode 20 of the Kicking Back podcast. You just heard some delightful music from how much of XMenBTeam?
33 and a third.
33 and a third of XMenBTeam. So, you know, if you thought that was good, wait till you hear the whole bloody band. By bloody Christ, it's good stuff.
Yeah, now we just need to book a gig.
That'll be sorted. Did you guys enjoy playing in our tiny little space?
Yeah, definitely. I've done it. What have we done?
You've
2
done it
or
a
3
couple
now.
of times,
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
you?
We've done 3.
Yes.
Have you done 3?
We did the live stream thing before
yeah.
Christmas.
We did we played a Christmas party.
Yeah, in here.
I remember
With
hearing
the whole
that.
setup,
Yeah.
and then we recorded videos recently as well.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just did some cover videos for. It was going to be for some promo, but then whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like
you guys are regulars here now, man.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's been. I've used a different amp situation all 3 times.
Oh.
Goodness me! I'll
Exciting.
find the right one soon.
I really enjoyed your guys' set. It was
thank
cool. I wanted to ask you just like what each song was about, and then sort of how it came to fruition.
Oh
and
yeah.
all that.
Cool. So what we, 2 of me.
Yeah.
2 of me started when like I guess like I've really started on like mental wellness is a journey. It's really difficult. Like I think the most difficult thing about it is that the realization that you're not well isn't the end of it. That's like the start of what becomes a very long road that you'll potentially never you'll never reach the end of. Like I mean, I'm feeling really good and positive at the moment, but like 2 weeks ago I wasn't. I was horrendous, and like I've got this thing where if and when I am like not at my best or at my very worst, there's this other person that comes out. Like I'd like to think of myself as quite an affable guy. Like, you know, I'm not, you know, but then there's this horrendous mean streak that comes out, and so I personified that with a guy called Sample McSamwell, who just appears every now and then. Who he'll just every time something's going well, he'll just come out and just be like, "Ooh." So like in the song, I'm getting on well with this lady. Everything's going well, and sample comes, clicks his fingers, the dog bites, and she's injured, runs screaming off into the night. So like, you know, something will go well and I'll sabotage it, but it's not me, it's another person.
Yeah.
So that the whole thing about there being two of me is that there's this other person that kind of is there when I'm not feeling too good about myself. So that's that. Then Major Key is all about, like, I kind of get to this realization that like no matter what, it's a stark and it's quite a bleak realization that like whatever we do, we're fucked, because there's always going to be someone who is going to make life better for themselves, and by making life better for themselves, they're going to make it worse for everyone else. And there are certainly a handful of people in this country and in the world who can do that. Yeah. And they routinely do that. Like it's because it's very apparent over the whatever. So Major Key is all about being good to the people around you, because that's the change that we can elicit is the change that we can elicit to each other on a day-to-day basis. And so that's what Major Key is all about. It's all, you know, living life in a major key, help the ones around you to live life in a major key. So that's what that one's about. Don't be a dick was...
I love that.
It's fairly self-explanatory.
Don't be a dick is all about like... It's mainly about the media, about people in the media and people who read certain media outlets, and I'm not just talking about, you know, there's the Daily Mail and the Sun and these you know, the Murdoch owned press and the oligarch owned press. It's not just about that, because there are people on the other side. You know, I feel like Guardian readers are in some ways just as bad as the other side, because neither side seems to listen to each other.
Yeah.
So there's no level of understanding between other people. Like people will immediately judge someone who thinks another way, because their way of thinking is right and the other person of thinking is wrong. Yeah. Then there's no like conversation between anyone. So just don't be a dick to each other and listen to what other people have to say, because they might have some valid points. You know, like I mean, we're quite a Romani kind of crowd here, and the bubble that we live in, the echo chamber that we live in is. But there are people who have very valid reasons for voting to leave. There are people who have very valid reasons, however misguided you might think they are. There are people who think a certain way, but it's because of not because they're bad people. Like you don't. I've you know, growing up in Yorkshire and Bradford and all this kind of stuff, like there's a lot of people who have some things that I very deeply disagree with, like some views, some world views, but it doesn't make them a bad person. It means that the journey that they've been on up to this point means that they disagree with you, and that's a really important thing. I mean, it goes back to Major Key in that you're not going to elicit change by being a bastard to the fishermen who voted leave because they wanted to get their fishing waters back or something like that. You know, but because there's a refusal to listen to people who have this other view, and the way that we can make the world a better place in ourselves is by listening to what people have to say, what conclusions they've come to, and then I don't know, like. I don't feel like anyone's going to change their mind about anything anymore, you know. Like that's where we've arrived at. But don't be a dick about it. Yeah. Like it, and so that's what don't be a dick is. I
think touching on that, the UK has an inbred xenophobia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is a huge divide between. Scotland and England has always had a big divide.
Yeah,
definitely.
The divide between north and south of England.
Yep,
there's a divide, but everyone always says north and south. They forget the Midlands.
Yep,
Midlands are also have their own opinion on things. Wales also has their own opinion on things. Ireland has their own opinion on things. And that's why we come under a central government. But I think our problem is that the central government is always run from the biggest,
London.
Absolutely.
biggest sway of opinion, which is London, which has the highest population. So sometimes we have to go along with some things because the decisions are made in London by the people of the south.
Yeah.
And that's where the xenophobia breeds, is because it doesn't feel like it's transpired up the coast and up the Midlands and up to Scotland. It's sometimes that
it's all divide and conquer, isn't it? Like it is that way. Like if like with the whole Scottish thing, like the only reason that we would ever have a left-wing government is because Scotland so massively voted Labour. They were huge Labour voters, so the SNP came, split the vote. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, but that's the thing. Like by keeping us divided, the people seek to conquer. But it's the most heartbreaking thing about it is the whole 51-49 thing. Is it's the most heartbreaking thing about it. It's like the last election in America, or maybe it was the one before, where it was very close. And so like when a vote like Brexit happens or something like that, and it's very close, it's not a good thing. It's so heartbreaking because literally half the people who were so passionate about this lose out.
Yeah.
And if it had been the other way round, it would have been just as bad. Yeah. Like that, what would make the world a better place was if everyone believed in the same thing, and that would be wonderful, but it doesn't. And so that's don't be a dick. And then Keep On was I guess Keep On was like I wrote loads of songs over. Pardon? The banger. It is. It's the banger.
Actually, I hadn't attributed it with being the banger of that set. That's interesting, but I think it's because it's a new song, and we'd learnt it fairly quickly. But I do really enjoy it. By the way,
good melody, man.
Thank you. Lovely tune.
But like I'd written a lot of poetry, especially that was quite bleak and quite angry over the past year about Well, we've all been there. We all know what it's all about. Yeah. And I wrote all this stuff, and I was like, I'm going to put this to XMenBTeam. I'm going to put this to X. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to, like. There's one song that we've got that is angry. It's all about it's an old story, a parable, I guess, that my mum told me about the naked truth. That we'll eventually record and all that kind of stuff. So I'm keeping that one, but the rest of them, I was just like, do you know what? People don't want this. There's an anger in everyone. Everyone is just so angry about something. But I guess it goes back to Major Key. Like Keep On is all about just, it's gonna be all right. Like if we can hold on to what keeps us happy and what we believe in and what we believe to be true and what we believe to be right, then something will happen. Yeah, I guess. So just keep I don't know, keep believing in what you believe is right, and keep following your principle and your principles and your code of ethics, and eventually something will happen. And if it doesn't, we'll have still spent all of this time just being nice to each other. Yeah. And that's I think that's the most important thing to me, is that as a society we've just got really nasty.
I think really nasty, and really turned off as well towards other people. Like really isolated, even when you're around other people. Yeah. To the point where other people become like objects separate from you. Like as in there's me, there's the story of my life. That's of utmost importance. These other people are just like fleeting figures, and I don't need to. Why give them attention? This is the kind of mindset that you see. How do I know that one? Because you feel it. You feel it come in. But the weird thing is, the opposite happens. Like when you go around and you really give people attention. Like really, like look at them when you're talking to them. Address them like they are really important, because they are. Like,
absolutely.
But then you attract it, and that becomes the more that I've started doing this over the last few days, when I've been climbing, when I was at the shops, it's really strange when people start talking to you out of the blue. And just when you're really present, it's almost like a magic trick.
Yeah, man.
Like you go around and people like come to you and like say stuff to you, and you know, a few people in the last few days have mistaken me for someone else just because I'm probably walking around being present, and they come over and they talk to me like they know me.
Yeah.
And that's so funny. I didn't even tell them that I've never met them before.
Absolutely.
Just got on board and hello.
This guy came over to me in a client center, and he was struggling with a sing, and he came and asked me, and we just had like 10 minutes where I was helping him out with things, and then later on another guy came over to me and acted like we'd been friends like a few days before or something. It's so strange, man.
But it's wonderful, and that's something as well. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like the first time you got back into that social situation after lockdown, it was just
strange.
like, oh my.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, it was really, really overwhelming, and that's sort of part of my thing recently. I've been coming to terms with the fact that, with mental health stuff, I'm going to mention that I'm sort of coming to terms with the idea that I can be quite anxious.
Yeah.
And thank you. It didn't come as a big shock when I started telling people. They kind of went, of course, we can see that. And I'm noticing it more in social situations, especially now we're allowed back at the pub or back, doing social activities, whatever they are. You sort of think, was I always like this, or am I only just clocking it now? And sort of that whole process of trying to understand it is becoming my sort of like, I don't know, shield in a way, just to be like, you are good, you can talk to people, don't panic constantly.
To think we're having the exact same thing at the exact same time is interesting, and I've got the same thing of. Like, I came out and I told my parents about it. It's like, there's some social anxiety going on in me, which I've been trying to hide for so long, but it's literally pouring out of me now, and I can't even help it. And it did. Like, it just came out of me, and it's like, and the whole time I was like, I just thought I was weird. I thought I was like an odd one out in this world, and to think other people are doing the exact same thing.
It's really interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that, but it's nice to know.
It's going back to like. The subject matter of the songs is that like that everyone is feeling the same thing, like no matter where you fall, on which side you fall, like it's this really weird blur, isn't it? Like there's right and there's left, and there's leave and remain, but then even amongst the right and the left, that they're mixed, and then there's the people who have the views on stuff like immigration and all that kind of stuff, and they're mixed, and all this kind of stuff, like the landscape. Through the landscape of belief has become such a like, I don't know, like almost like a 3D shape rather than like a line on which everyone exists. And so there's going to be some people that you wholeheartedly and profoundly agree on things with, but then you fundamentally disagree with them on other things, and it doesn't mean that their experience is any less valid than yours at any point throughout it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Every single I get this from like interviewing people on here, and it's like I kind of have like a prerequisite of like, okay, this person could be like this, and then you start actually and you start actually talking to me like, holy fuck, man! Like everyone's so vastly interesting. Like everyone is just a melting pot of a variety of like thousands of different experiences and like things that push them into different ways, and it's like you can't expect everyone to agree with you. And actually, all this stuff, like, like you just say, like, left, right, all that, none of that actually means anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, like, day-to-day life and, like, okay, you might view that Brexit was a bad thing. Almost seems like it kind of just fumbled into nothing at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, things are going to come out of it or whatever, but, like, at the end of it, like, in terms of day-to-day experiences and, like, talking to people, it's like, none of that matters. Like, it's like if you're just having a conversation with someone on the street, it's like, are you really going to even talk about that stuff? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what you want to... I agree with you, Matt. Like, what you're saying about being aware towards people and having that sort of reaction from people, it's true, man. Like, it's the same with just doing this podcast stuff. It's like, if you are attentive to people and you are... I always say this, like, I say that's the best way to be loving towards someone is to just give them your full attention. Something comes out of them, man, and it's whatever that thing is inside, that wants to like talk and like and share experiences and and just realize that at a fundamental level we are all exactly the same, and that bottom line is we're all human, and we're all crazy. Like we are all crazy.
Everyone's crazy, but in their own sort of like way. Yeah,
that's it, man. Like everyone has their own. Like everyone carries this little. I quite like the monkey brain. Like there's just this thing that comes around with that. Oh, don't say that. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like, and yours might be like. Someone's might be based on like a scientific person might be based on knowledge. It's like, okay, I'm gonna when I converse about things, I'm gonna talk about like facts about things like that, or like I know for a fact that like I find like some social situations difficult, so I'm more of a like laid back listen to people. You know what I mean? And everyone is formed in just from their life experiences into these different little beautiful little sculptures.
Yeah.
But at a fundamental level, we're all the same. We are all the fucking same. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you come from. It's like if you can just get down to that bottom line, and like we can disagree about things, but it doesn't mean that we can't like have a good experience or just learn from each other.
And, the thing that I was having a conversation with someone the other day about the fact that the human race now, it doesn't seem like it is, but like the human race now is at the most tolerant, forgiving and loving that it's ever been in its history. And I know that it seems that it's not, but like, you know, you have people who and people, there's still a stigma around people who, you know, trans people, LGBTQ community, race and all that kind of stuff. Like there is still a stigma. There is massively a stigma, and we've got a long way to go, but we're further along the road than we ever have been.
Yeah.
Certainly. Like, I mean, imagine trying to come out as a trans person in the Victorian era, or you know, or anything like that, or like trying to make your way as a person of color in the Victorian era.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bloody Victorians.
I feel like the Victorians have a lot to answer for. They definitely do. Like the way that they changed the world in that particular way.
Yeah.
But we've arrived at a point now where we're on the road to something good.
Yeah, I think so too.
We just I don't know, and it's never going to be perfect. Like have you read the book Sapiens?
Yes, brilliant book.
Oh my god,
what a good book, man.
Yeah, amazing. But like it was stuff like when they said that so Homo sapiens first evolved in Middle Africa and then basically moved out to colonize the world. And the Homo sapiens was a horrendously brutal species of mammal. Like but they arrived in Australia, and there were 30 different species of whatever. There were X species of marsupials that weighed over 30 kilograms. By the time they'd been there for 200 years, there was one, the kangaroo, right? But before that, there was a breadth of life, but they were just hunted to extinction by Homo sapiens. So Homo sapiens have this history of being horrendous people, but as like enlightenment came and like consciousness evolved and all this kind of stuff, like we've arrived at a point now where we are accepting and we're good. I can't imagine most of the people who vote for what they vote for, they don't do it to be pejorative towards these people. They do it to protect their family or themselves or something like that. Like there's I mean, malice comes from I guess malice comes from a place of trying to protect what you know, and sometimes it's wrong, or sometimes it's perceived as wrong. But like it's, you know,
I think that's where like because there are people who have views which are clearly wrong, right? But they've got them from like other people, and it's very obvious that they've gone from other people. You know, like it's just like quoting facts and stuff that you see, which is just also not true. And I think this is where media has a very important role, and one which they haven't possibly been doing the best job of, which is like just like remaining impartial. Impartiality is impossible, like for humans, I think, to some degree. But like trying to get at least a modicum of it in that, and also like realizing there's a responsibility to truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and that's not
absolutely.
like saying that fake news, because I feel like the whole fake news thing was fake news.
Yeah. Well, I guess is what we were talking about. Like, don't be a dick. Is like everyone who delivers something for people to consume, be it the Sun, the Daily Mail, the Guardian, the BBC, and anyone who delivers something for people to consume has an agenda, because the fact is that all of these people are owned by people, and because of where we've arrived in whatever this kind of capitalist dream that we've now arrived in, everyone's making something out of everything, you know, and so take everything that you can with a pinch of salt, because it's going to be somewhere. You know, if you read this in the right wing press and this in the left wing press, probably somewhere in the middle is where they meet.
Exactly. And who, like, the people who are writing this article, like, they're almost anonymous. Like, how often when you're reading a Guardian article that's like demonizing someone on the right, do you know who wrote that article? Like, why?
Yeah.
What? You know, why do you believe them more than the guy who is? It all breaks down when you really scrutinize it, doesn't it? And like you said, no one was even there when any of it happened. Like, the situation is not going to be as simple as the clickbait title of the article that you read and the like demonizing comments, you know, because they have their own agenda on it. And people need to be made aware of that as well. So that's the huge education thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everyone's going to spot that for themselves and be like, hang on, maybe there's another agenda. And that's why you see, like, especially around like elections and times like that, the polar opposite opinions come out, and then suddenly this hate from both sides, and people launch at each other.
I noticed this, around the general election. I'm in sort of like, you know, the Facebook groups for kind of like local Manchester ones. I'm in the Chiltern one, Withington one, whatever. And you see
they're gold, by the way.
absolute gold.
We've discussed those before.
Somebody else's I can't remember who was talking about the Chiltern Facebook group, but
it's a gold
like
mine.
if you go on, like I went on that around the time of the sort of general election, however long ago it was now. And a lot of the memes were kind of quite Labour heavy, quite, sort of on the left of the whole thing. And then I'd see the exact same memes with the word swaps, with the colours swapped on my, I'm from North Yorkshire. I don't know why I'm addressing the camera and say that.
Shouts out to North Yorkshire.
Shouts
out to North Yorkshire.
But on a sort of like similar thing in Harrogate, and you just see it was the exact same content, but just with the name swapped. And I found that fascinating at the time, because generally, as we said about echo chambers earlier, like a lot of people on my Facebook will think the same as me, generally. But then, going into these like more local, like, I don't know what they are, kind of local information groups, and there are people speaking like this, and you kind of think, but you've got it wrong. Wait, no, hang on. Have you got it wrong? Because this is what you think.
But they're all so right. They are all so
right.
Believing in the fact that they're speaking gospel.
It's not even believing it. It's identifying with it. So it's me and my beliefs. That's really, really weird. It's like me and my story. Me and my beliefs. I am the belief that the right wing is evil. Like, people can like you take that and you hold on to it. Yeah. But it's like, why am I that? And it's like, I'm that because people told me to be that. And
It's like the definition of what truth is, right? Truth doesn't exist because truth is the application of facts. So you can take a fact, this happened, and you can say, well, that's why this happened, and that's my truth. But then someone else could say, well, that this same fact is why I believe that this happened. So that's truth. So like, truth is this kind of this like, I don't know, like what's it called? You know, like this imperceptible thing that exists that people use to build a belief structure over, because they think they take a fact and they apply it to something and it becomes a truth. And it's just like, if I don't know, like if you listen to what someone else thinks is true, and then, I mean, you're never going to change anyone's mind. This is the most I don't know, the saddest thing, the most important thing that I've certainly realized over the past few years is that you're not going to change anyone's mind, because you hold these truths within you so much that truth becomes fact
Yeah.
to someone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think all of this stems from people's lack of sense of self, in terms of like people understanding who they actually are. Because if you don't understand who you are, then you need to build an identity of yourself from facts, from being in a team, from being
concepts.
Yeah, from concepts, from being like aligned with something and be like, oh, I'm with these people and I am this and I am that. And it's like, if you don't, like, I don't read the news anymore. I don't, because I don't find it useful. I don't find it like, and I before.
it has a real tendency to ruin your day at any
It does,
point.
It
man.
really does.
It does, and the thing is, like, all the major things that happen in the world, I find out about anyway, because someone will be like, "Oh, do you about this?" And it's like, "Okay, cool."
Great.
Fabulous.
But it's like I know for a fact, like, you know, before I like sort of had a bit of a shift, like I identified myself with being like an environmentalist, and like, you know, I did loads of stuff with like XR and like things like that, and it's like, and looking back on it now and looking back on like my old behaviour and stuff, it's like I did all that stuff because I didn't know who I was. Do you know what I mean? I didn't. I was like, I need some sort of identity so that like when someone asks me what I do or like who I am, I can be like, oh.
I listen to Coldplay.
Yeah, I like this band, and I care about the environment, and I do all this shit. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I think this whole thing with the lockdown, I feel like a lot of people have had space. Like you were saying before, it's like you had your diary cleared, and there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what do we do with that time?
I think, I was going to bring it round to that as well, sort of from a similar angle. Like, I lost my sense of self when lockdown hit last year. And we all had the same process through March where it's just like, that's now cancelled, that's now cancelled, that's now cancelled, all the way through. And then for a period of time, I sort of didn't know what I was, and then went through the period of like, you know, kind of boundless, I can do anything now. I can do this, I can record covers with my friends that I wouldn't have dared put online or wasted the time on because it would be better spent writing.
Wasted the time. That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So at the same time, I had a sort of goal for myself, like to bring Sam in. Basically, I wanted to write music because I don't generally do that, which I'm part of however many creative projects where I'm part of the band, part of creating the songs, whatever they are, whether you bring a song and then I mess about with it and put my stamp on it, that sort of thing. But I've never actually got anything that's like mine. And it surprised me to hear in previous podcasts, Matt, that you write your own material. I didn't know that you did. And I thought about, I want to write songs. And I talked to Sam about this sort of thing. I had a couple of ideas and I wrote them down and recorded them, sent them across. And then we actually did a sort of like songwriting like, you know, masterclass. Well, I don't know, like a sort of a lesson.
A round table. Let's
a round table.
A round table with two people. A massive 10-foot wide round table.
With you at one
miles away from
me
each
at the
other.
other end. But like basically, you know, sort of working out what that was. And then I went away and had some ideas about it. I wrote poems for a bit as well, like which is stuff that I've never done. And yeah, it's just mad to think that was me trying to sort of reaffirm my love of music and trying to, you know, spark that again. Because generally, up until that point, it had been part of working with people in the same room, creating things, or on stage playing things, and it just felt like it was so long until we could actually do it again. So it's like, this is right now. I'm going to try and work out what it is that I am saying, and my main. Sorry,
no, I was just agreeing with you, man.
Oh, right, okay.
I want to hear more.
Well, yeah, your main. Go on.
My main point is that I don't know if Sam's seen this coming for a bit, but I basically ended up writing a poem about wanting to own a camper van.
Oh, it was so sick. It was so. Read it out. Get it out. Get it out.
I can't get it out. It's in a bag in the rucksack in my car. Not here.
Can you not recite it?
I can't remember it.
I
really.
It was so good.
But basically, it just stemmed from sort of like baby steps into writing a song, because at first I was trying to do it all at once, trying to like write the chords and then go, this will be the chorus and that'll be the verse. And then Sam led me to sort of like try these sort of exercises to, here's a load of words that rhyme with this one, like write 10 words that are to do with topic you're going to talk about, and then rhyme 10 words with each of those. And before you know it, you've got 100 words, and then you write your sort of like story through it all, and ended up writing this sort of like 4-stanza poem about wanting to own a camper van and just fuck off somewhere.
That's in you. Like,
which surprisingly was, about the most creative thing I've done for a while.
I bet it felt awesome as well.
It did feel really good.
And it was great because like I feel like Al, bless you. I love you so much. You've got this like there's like this, I don't know, there's something about you that is so intensively creative, but you've always needed someone else to bring that creativity out of you.
Yeah.
And yet this poem, and what was it? The blues video that you did was spot on.
I love that.
It was
Thank you.
But then I mean that was something that definitely brought something out of you.
Yeah.
Because you're spending all this time on your own. We're all spending all this time on our own. Like it's definitely a time to reflect. Whereas I got Bradford City from the second division to winning the quadruple.
Yeah.
Shouts out to
Is this some sort of football match?
It sounds like a FIFA thing to me.
It was a FIFA. I was doing that and playing computer games, and
nice.
you were bringing yourself out of your shell, but then the point is that it doesn't matter that you haven't got it to read out, or that you've never shown it to anyone or anything like that. The fact is that you did it for yourself. I mean, I guess that's something that we've talked about before. Like I remember having a conversation with you, Matt, about this very thing. Like it must have been a couple of years ago or something like that, where we were talking about stuff, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm writing these things," and like I don't know if people are receiving it and all this kind of stuff. And you were like, "Well, that's not the point. The point isn't that people are being receptive about all this kind of stuff. The point is that you're making this. So if other people like it, then cool. Yeah. But like and that stuck with me. That really did stick with me.
Amazing.
Like that conversation that we had was like, it doesn't matter that Al didn't do an emotive reading of it on a Facebook video or anything.
I mean, I thought about it. I really, like, it was through that period, if you'll all remember, where I went a bit mad on Instagram, and I started to be daft about all these things. And generally, like, people were quite appreciative of it. I got messages saying your videos are getting me through lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, I love the Muppets.
Yeah,
all the elbows.
Yeah,
stuff.
I love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to at Alistair123 on Instagram, and you've saved it as a story, haven't you?
What
the how do you like your eggs in the morning?
Oh, it's so good.
He did.
Can we get it on? Can we get it on here? 'Cause honestly, Al, it's the same with me, man. Like, because I was so bored, and like, I just go on Instagram and I'm like, oh, Al's with another video. Thank God.
Dude, it was a highlight of the day for so long.
Today? Well, so good, man.
The stupid thing was, it started to give people structure. Like, people would say that they'd noticed. I'd get up at, like, generally in a way that I hadn't before. I'd get up at like 8 in the morning, make breakfast, sort things out, and basically people would be commenting on it. Like, I'd record the daft video, and then people would go, ha ha ha, that was really funny. Yeah. And that would start my day. And it was a thing for so long. And then eventually I went into a bit of a dip and started saying, nobody had breakfast today. We're all too sad. Because, truth be known, I couldn't be asked to get out of bed and bother with it.
Yeah. And here we go.
Oh, no.
This is some of it, yeah.
Can you get the sound?
I don't know if we have. I don't think we can have sound, unfortunately.
I mean,
it's saved as a highlight on my Instagram. There's all sorts of shit on there.
I would really encourage you guys to go to Alice's Instagram.
It's Elmo.
There it is. Yes.
Day 18. Day 18, man.
Right, I basically, I don't know if I got to 100. I think I might have done, but basically started.
Look at that, man. It's brilliant.
It was. Like, I remember, like, if I spoke to people who maybe, like, because I don't know, that people know that Al and I are particularly close. Like, they'd speak to me and they'd be like, "Oh man, I'm loving Al's things," or like when it was when you started to drop off and you kind of gave up like we all did. Like people would be like, "Oh, is Al okay?"
I had that, like, are you all right? I haven't seen anything online. Which generally was based around kind of workflow and sense of purpose and that sort of thing. Like, for a while I was mad, and then got the job at Shindigger and started having a focus, a thing to do, and it was like, oh, I don't have time to do the recording thing, and then the daft videos, and then and then ended up having to move house in the period and everything like that. I sort of dropped off a bit after that, and that was sort of my lockdown 2 and 3. It just felt like I was at that level again. I didn't really fancy doing it. Yeah. Which is mad because I can be daft, generally. Yeah. But I just didn't feel like it. And that was when I felt like I lost my sense of self for a bit. Yeah. But again, that's all linked into the kind of mental health stuff that I've been working through and trying to work on. And just generally, with life starting to open back up again with the gigs, and, we've done a few gigs since the...
Yeah, we fucking have.
And that's, it's me getting my essence back, which has been really important, I think, because I haven't been able to sort of sit and write songs about how I'm feeling because I don't know how. Yeah. So it's been nice to...
It was like when we so we did our first gig back, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Last week.
Last week.
Yeah, we played at Hatch, and it was one of those where you've got to be quiet. Like, we didn't have a drum kit. That was a weird experience. So John was on the
R.I.P.
Oh yeah, John,
God rest his soul.
He was on the SPDS, like the electric box of death drum thing. And like, obviously, like, it was weird doing a gig and not having a drum kit behind me and all this kind of stuff, but like, what was it? We got on stage, and I was like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we're going to have to stay quiet throughout this whole thing, and don't stand up and don't make too much noise. But I'd just like to say this before we start." And it was amazing.
Which was followed by a polite golf round of applause. Which was a common theme throughout the game, which I really enjoyed.
But followed by a shh, shh, shh.
Not too loud.
But we got off stage, and like, I can't. I mean, we had a bottle of brandy, but like, I can't remember most of the gig, like,
it
because
just sort of happens.
We finished, and I just turned around to Al, and I just gave him this. I was just like, oh my god, like, it's such a big thing to get taken away from you, like this fact that you were. I mean, 3, 2, 3, 4 times a week, you'd have people like screaming for you.
I've since told my girlfriend to give me a similar sort of respect for doing fairly base tasks around the flat. Just, oh, well done, you put the washing on the radiator. Thank you. I really needed that. Right, now we're back. This is what we were booked for.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Because I experienced this thing, right? Because there's a thing that goes along with gigging, and it's not for everyone, but alcohol consumption after a gig
yes,
is just a done thing. Whenever you do a gig, you have a pint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is just what is done. How was your first pint back after a gig? So the first pint back is obviously pretty good. It's really nice.
Mine wasn't.
Nice to be outside.
But yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
All right, Debbie Downer.
What, they not clean the pipes or something? Oh,
No, I had a pint of Red Stripe. It's a long story. Disappointed. Anyway,
that's just any pint of Red Stripe.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's just a poor decision.
I didn't choose it. They basically, I picked another pint, and they're like, "Oh, all the other drafts are out. The only thing we have is Red Stripe." I was like, fine. It literally tasted like someone had just poured a can of Red Stripe into a glass.
Right.
Bad. Anyway, back to you, James.
Yeah, but yeah, that first pint after a gig, if you do a gig sober, or you've worked really hard for 3 or 4 days in a row, even for 9 to 5ers, they work a whole weekend, a week, and they get to the weekend, and that Friday night, they get a little sip on a beer.
It's gone immediately.
That's British.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
No, do you know what the best pint you could ever have? Have you guys ever worked in a kitchen?
Yes.
Not that kind of
Horrible.
Right. But
why are chefs such arseholes?
because they work
I've heard this.
18-hour shifts in a room with no window.
I get it, but man,
So
when
the session musicians, to be fair.
it's true.
Well, they're all assholes as well.
I couldn't.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. They were just so horrible. I was just
But-
like, why is this happening?
But when you were pot wash,
Yeah, I was basically just like little bitch.
Oh no!
Yeah.
little dish pig.
Yes.
But like that's the one when you evening service finishes and you just got to wash everything up, and while you're washing up, someone brings you a pint, and you just the whole thing just goes immediately. That pint is the best pint. Like being a pot washer is the worst job in the world.
My
Like,
thing with pot washing, right? I have also been a pot washer.
Oh yeah.
you still are.
Yeah, just in different ways. You know? It's more of a mentality than a job, I find.
yeah, it's a way
State
of
of
life.
mind.
But when I was doing it,
Jesus, man.
my thing was, why was the water always so fucking hot? It was
To
crazy.
get rid of the
clean, man.
bacteria.
Oh my god, though, my hands.
Oh, you little hand.
My little girly hands.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I said girly hands. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
They are very feminine. I'm worth a hard day in the
When
life.
I got trained by this lovely old lady, I think she was called Suzanne, and she's in her 70s, and she had hands of steel, man. So I'd be like carrying these things. Oh my god! And she would just pick it up and just walk around with it and like chat to the other people.
Asbestos fingers.
Asbestos
I was
fingers.
gonna say
It's
that,
a real
yeah.
thing. Yeah. But yeah, when I witnessed it, I was like, oh my god, like steam, just like, you know what I mean?
Christ.
Why were we talking about pot
Yeah, it's
washing?
There's people that work
Pints.
in-
The first pint
Pints.
back.
There's a lot of
Pints,
people that have
sorry.
Right. People watching this podcast, please pay your respect to people that work in hospitality.
Oh,
God, yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, a drink for the people in
Cheers.
hospitality because they
Cheers.
work their goddamn ass off. They really
They
do. It's
Cheers.
not an easy job.
And also, it
We'll
might
do
not
it
be
through
the
the screen.
passion. It might not be the passion, but
Cheers.
they usually do a hospitality job to work towards something.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
You know that like these are the people that are potentially creatives. A lot
Yeah.
of them are. A lot of the hospitality industry are creatives, and they're doing this as a side gig to help them strive towards a goal.
To be honest,
You know, I
that's
worked in hospitality for 7 years.
You did the most horrible shift.
I had the most horrible.
Oh yeah,
shifts.
I remember like when I first met you, you were doing some horrible
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
you were
and,
doing bar work.
but it
you
built
did.
me as a human being.
Yeah.
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 And you meet some amazing people.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
meet some horrible people.
Yeah.
Sure. I used to work at my so I've got 2 older brothers, and an older sister. Shouts out to the Parry clan. But my oldest brother, Dave, he used to manage the hotels. Ed, our middle brother, would be the assistant manager, and I would just be everything else.
the aforementioned little bitch boy.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I'd pot wash, I'd clean the rooms, I'd work on the bar, I'd wait on tables, I'd earn £3.25 an hour.
It was a lot of money back then.
It wasn't. It fucking wasn't. It was never a lot of money. So yeah, I used to do that. Like I'd spend summer working 18-hour days every day, and it was hard. It's hard work,
It is,
man.
man.
It is really, really hard work. But yeah, I mean, and when this whole country comes back, it's the hospitality people who, you know, I mean, I think there was something like when we were talking about like when everything started coming back, like people came back off furlough and all this kind of stuff. It was like it was us as musicians. It was the musicians and the hospitality people who didn't and probably still haven't got anything like their old life back.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine working in a bar as anything like, I mean, the thing that I loved the most about working on a bar was being on a bar and having loads of people there and just being like, yeah, let's go. Oh, I'm going to make you drink and all this kind of stuff. But like, that's not happening yet.
No.
And I doubt it will for a long time. And the music thing is that like, that's we've got to wait until June.
The 21st, I've got in my
Not far
head.
away though.
No, it's
chaps.
not as far as you
really
think.
Not far away.
But
far
like,
away.
and also, I guess May. I can't remember what date is it. Is it May the 12th that we're allowed to play inside?
Yeah,
I'm sick
like
of my
that.
fingers nearly falling off
'Cause cold.
after gigs.
Yeah, man.
17th.
17th, sorry, I do apologise, Sam. But what I will say about the sort of hospitality comment from earlier is that it intrigued me to know that quite a lot of creatives who obviously had their life pulled out from under them, like we did, all of us, ended up working for Shindigger. Like you told me that because you started before me, and then we discovered that there was like actors and people who ran festival rigs to PA rigs to festivals, sorry. And then just generally a lot of people who you were sort of 1 degree from knowing who had vans or had cars or free time, and they ended up working for Shindigger as a result, because we were all supporting this sort of like smaller business. They needed the drivers and we were willing. But yeah, it was quite mad to sort of like ask people, what did you used to do when you got there? Like it was great for me because I've only ever
In the old world.
yeah, we talk about the old world, but like I've never had a proper job in that sense. I've only ever played music for people, and as a result, it was quite mad to sort of build up this community of new people, new drivers and delivery people, and the Shindigger guys as well, who are all sound as fuck, obviously.
Yeah.
But just sort of like, and then hearing throughout the year, like I've been working for Shindigger a year now.
Right.
Like this month,
Wow.
it'll be a year that I've been delivering beers. I've probably delivered about 25,000 beers, like cans.
Yeah.
And it's mental to think that. And now there's all these new people who I never would have met in the music circles that I used to work in.
But not just the music circles either, like the theatre circles, like actors and shouts out to Lois Mackey.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, all these people who you just wouldn't have seen, and who, we've all just sort of zeroed in on something that we can do and bring joy to someone some other way.
It was definitely that question, wasn't it? But like when you showed up at the yard to get your car like filled up with beer, it was like the first question was obviously like, "Hi, I'm Sam. So what did you used to do?"
It
was like, what have you lost? that kind of thing. But it definitely was like,
but especially with the kind of glimmer of hope. I mean, last year, whenever it was happening, when things started opening up again, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't work tomorrow because I've got to. Like whether it was a gig or rehearsal or I had to record something, and then somebody else was like, oh, a theatre are putting on my show, or I've got a gig coming up, and it's like you all go, yeah, get in, come on, it's coming back.
Yeah, and even the owners, like,
asking us about it as well.
That's cool.
They'd never ever begrudge you. They'd never be like you'd be like, oh, I've got a fucking gig, mate. Like,
I'm really sorry, I can't deliver beers.
But never once did they say, I'm sorry, mate, I really need you to work. They'd be like, yeah, sound.
You go and do what you need to do.
We know where you are, we know where we are, and we know why you're doing this. And just like,
I think an affirming moment. Were you working the day that our NEXUS thing went out?
Yeah.
So Sam and I were both working.
Yeah.
So we mentioned this live video that we did last year for this festival online. And we recorded the thing in 2 parts and then put it together, and it was a whole, like, what was it, 30 minute set?
It was like 20 minute set, so because we did it at Neuron.
Yeah,
of course.
And
shout out to Neuron.
Shout out to Neuron. But we did it, so like the room that they had meant that we could only fit 3 of us in at a time.
Right. Okay.
So John, Al, and I went in and recorded the set.
And I looked like I'd never played bass in my life because I was scared of the amp.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. But then we had that, and then we played what we did through the ears, and Liam, Simeon, and George played over the top.
Oh,
And so,
right.
so they played
So
their
it's
bit.
like two halves
Of the same set.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
you edited it that way as well. Like
Yeah.
there were bits
Well,
where it's like all six of us.
That was my brief foray into video editing.
Oh, nice.
So I edited that I did a few things over lockdown. Actually.
Yeah. I was thinking about it today again in anticipation of what we might talk about. I was thinking you edited that stuff and that was mental that you sort of had like in the absence of gigs, you learned how to edit and sort of sync things and sort it all out. And
Yeah, I did some voice acting. I'm still.
Yeah.
I remember
How's that going, by the way? Is it any bits of other stuff?
I'm still doing little bits. So there's I mean the one thing that's staying is it's called the Greenlands. Shout out to the Greenlands. It basically it started. So I auditioned for loads of stuff, and I did some stuff like with voice acting and all that kind of stuff. And something that came of it was I ended up acting in some plays. So this person called Rosie, she's written loads of plays that are all kind of based in the same, like kind of a Discworld vibe. Right. So like, she had 3 plays and then one that brought them all together. And so the first play I played a nun. She was Sister Letitia. She was very well spoken, but she was actually quite common underneath, But she really. So I played her in the first one.
Nice.
Then in the second one, I was a knight called Morag who was taken out of his home country, and he was gallivanting around with Arthur and the other knights.
Nice.
And then the third one was.
I was a bloody baron. I was a very fat old man who just like sat in his castle and told people. Rah, rah.
So I did those.
For the people listening to the Spotify of this, all these people are socially distanced and also on their own microphones.
But yeah, so I recorded those 3 plays, and then last week, in fact, I recorded my parts for the play where they all kind of came together.
Right. Okay.
And so I had to play all 3 characters.
Ah, nice.
So I've done that kind of thing. I did a bit of voiceover work and stuff like that. That was really fun. But yeah, well, I kind of stopped doing that. I learnt to code, and now I've just started. I've just become a software developer.
Sick.
And so yeah, that's where my journey's taken me over lockdown, is that now I'm a software developer for a company, and now that I've got a job, I can finally afford to be in an originals band. So
All right.
That's the sick irony of the whole thing is that now you got your proper job. It's like, well, let's see what we can do with this thing because we can put it, all that.
That's it, man. That's it. I was going to ask you guys just a little bit about. Obviously, we touched on the mental health stuff a little bit. I was going to just talk to you guys about like what is it that you do to sort of deal with that stuff? Is there any like particular processes or like things that you've picked up on that help you to get through it? Because I know like we talked about this stuff a lot on the podcast, and I always find it interesting to know like what it is you guys do to help like process that stuff.
So I might jump in straight away just because fairly recently I've been talking about anxiety and trying to deal with that, because I think up until this point I hadn't really considered it as that. So I've been trying to crack on as normal and not really give it the attention it deserves. To sort of circle back round again to the lockdown thing and losing your purpose, I was gigging maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week, and the only time I'm ever truly in the moment and like not thinking about what's happened or not thinking about what's going to happen was on stage, like playing the gig. Because the most important thing was I need to play, and support these people the best way I can, which is generally my role in most things. And I found having that pulled from under me, like not necessarily the creative process that people say, I don't have the opportunity to say my thing on a stage to people. The thing that I've struggled with is having that support, just having that thing pulled from under me and not really feeling present in the situation I'm in. So as a result, I spent a lot of time in lockdown worrying about what has happened, what will happen, and I've not really had that sort of, right, you just need to be here right now, playing bass, singing sometimes.
Sounds like a song.
It does it does a little bit, but like honestly, I've been sort of considering it a bit more now, having identified what I think might be not wrong with me, but like the thing that's in my head that's stopping me achieving everything. But it has occurred to me that it's now been a year since I've had to worry about that on a, 3 or 4 times a week. I would be completely for an hour or two at a time, whatever, just there, like doing what I need to do. And the rest of the time whatever, but yeah, that was the thing. My sort of being present in the moment was gigging,
right?
So as a result, gigging coming back has actually helped me a little bit since, definitely. Because we've done a few gigs since, not as many as we used to do, but I feel like that's helped me an awful lot. And I've gone a long time struggling with that a little bit. But I don't know if that's something that you guys resonate with.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. In every single way, as if it might as well be me thinking it. Which again is really
I feel like we've done this in the second half. It's like, makes sense.
And it's, I guess with you, Al, if it's like a kind of recent discovery, is there anything outside of that space that you find helps you to get into
D&D?
No. Just be a hobby for a couple of hours.
I've found that it's really important as a person who doesn't play D&D.
Yes.
To sort of, kind of inform the people who do that despite their best efforts, I'm a different kind of nerd. I'm into different stuff, like you guys might know. I'm into different things that are quite eccentric, quite strange.
Tell us about your trains.
No, I'm not going to tell you about trains. That's a different podcast.
What roads do you take from Newcastle to Bristol, Al?
From Newcastle to Bristol, well, a short jaunt down the A1M, probably A1, M18, M1, I don't know. It depends around that, and then I'm going to stop talking. I've had a couple of beers. I got halfway.
But yeah, well, I'm still talking about like dealing with it and stuff. Like exercise. That's the thing. The thing that sets me free. Like I've been to the climbing wall a couple of times, man. I've started riding my bike. I've just got a new bike. Ride my bike. Any of that. Like even when it was in deepest, darkest lockdown. I mean, I've had Miranda next to me. I mean, can we cheers Miranda, please?
What a beautiful human being she is. Wonderful. For people, Miranda is Sam's other half. She's a wonderful person.
Miranda is my fiance. And
fiance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did during lockdown.
Yeah,
I got betrothed. But she worked through the whole of lockdown, and when I just had no purpose or anything like that, like my purpose became getting up, making her breakfast, and then I'd hang out all day, and then we'd have dinner together and all that kind of stuff. But then she'd get me up, and she'd be like, right, we're going to go for our government allotted half hour of exercise, whatever. Like she'd get me out, and she'd get. I fully believe that the reason that I'm still alive now is because of Miranda. Like she was there the whole time. Like I'd just like randomly burst into tears, and she'd be like, I'm there, and even stuff like we did a thing called Randy's Chop Shop. Shouts out to Randy's Chop Shop.
What's Randy's Chop Shop?
She gave haircuts to people. She gave haircuts to Al.
Two haircuts to me. Look at this.
Looks really sharp.
I should say at this point, unfortunately, this was a barber who did this 2 weeks ago. But my hair grows that fast. Miranda got to do my hair twice in lockdown.
But people would come round and she'd cut their hair, and we cook them dinner and all this kind of, and even now, like we've got, You know, we've got people who want to come to our house because they feel like our house is a safe place to be, and that's 100% Miranda making everything wonderful for them. Like it's yeah. Shouts out to Miranda. But yeah, no, and but that's what it is. Like the thing for me, the one thing that I can guarantee I'm not going to be going out of my head, madly depressed, all that kind of stuff, is when I'm doing exercise.
Yeah,
It really is. Like cycling to the climbing wall, 25 minutes cycle to the climbing wall, 2 hours of climbing, 25 minutes cycle back. Like that 3 hours. If I can do that twice a week, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely fine.
Dude, that's been like a game changer for me.
Mm-hmm. We all know the story about your 6-pack.
No, but like, yeah, I'm sexy now.
yeah, George is jacked out of his mind.
No,
man.
but like,
it's unbelievable.
It's so true. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for someone who's in the arts or something like that, like, just to go back a bit as well, Alistair, I wanted to say, like, for me personally, as a bass player, you're a bass player. You've always been like an idol.
Oh, thank you.
In a lot of ways, like, you're so good.
Let's have a drink. Alistair is genuinely.
Honestly,
let's go camera one, baby.
Oh God,
Alistair.
This is going to be the worst.
I'm serious though. People at home, like Alistair is one of the best bass players in
the UK.
Manchester that I know.
Thank you.
Seriously though, he's
my God,
fucking
awesome.
and you are a credit to yourself, sir, and to the bass guitar.
Thank you very
itself.
much. Cheers.
Honestly,
Cheers
it
to
was
that.
like
A musical badass.
It had
True,
been a
man.
year since I saw you, and then we recorded the clip, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Alistair.
Yeah, man.
It's fucking
Just
awesome.
So good.
Like, everything brilliant. But like, yeah, so like, and also in terms of the anxiety and stuff like that, I completely understand. I have exactly the same thing and stuff. But you have no reason to be anxious because, like we said, you're fucking awesome.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
That's the hardest thing, though, isn't it? Is the fact that people are like, oh, why are you anxious, or like, why are you depressed, or all this kind of stuff. Like, there's never any rhyme or reason.
No.
Right? No, sorry, go on, George.
Shit, I forgot my point. What were we talking about?
Let's go with Al's fucking great. And we're all saying it. That's pretty great. Huh? No, thanks. I appreciate that. Honestly,
Absolutely.
like, it's just one of those things. And a lot of people have told me over the years that it's like, what have you got to be worried about? And it's mad to kind of come to terms with that, obviously, because if you're on the back foot sort of going, well, why should they feel like that? You know, you're not that great, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
But then this happens. And
That's it, man.
it's really kind. And people clap you for doing your washing. 3 cheers for doing your
No, it's true, man. And you know, we are all our biggest critics. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, I think you were a fantastic bass player.
Oh,
you were one of
bless
the
you,
first
thank you.
bass players that I saw in college. I was
You're
like,
a fucking dickhead, but you're really good.
The problem is with all this is that I'm a year older than you lot, so you'll have seen me more than I saw you initially as well.
That's true.
It's
But
like, oh, that's how the year above.
I thought we pre-agreed that we wouldn't talk about age. On this.
Okay.
But like, you know, we are all our biggest self-critics, and it's like, again, going back to that book that I've been reading, it's like we, when we create a piece of art or something, when we look at it ourselves, we look at it and then we're like, oh, I didn't do this, and oh, I could have done this differently. It's like, but someone else just like looks at it from the other side of the mirror, and it's like the most beautiful thing they've ever seen in their life.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, and we are always the creation of art is the journey of like what we're going to do next. Do you know what I mean? Like how we can improve it next. It's not the actual product at the end of it.
Yeah.
The product at the end of it is for the other people. Do you know what I mean? But the art for us is the journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's being able to look at it in a constructive way and be like, okay, this was cool, but I would do this differently next time. That's the art there. That's like that's the progression and the journey. That's the thing that we all strive for. It's like, okay, I could have done this better, and then you do it better next time, and it gets better and better and stuff. But you always have to remember the other side of the mirror, which is like,
Mate, it's the Campbell philosophy, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then at a certain point you realize like you are just gonna do it anyway. That's like the beautiful thing. Like it's almost not up to you. It's like, I love that Bob Dylan's thing where he talks about like plucking a song out of like the living room in a house. It was like almost like that to him, because he wrote so many songs or whatever, that it's like, I didn't write that one. That one literally came to me. Like it's just there, isn't it? You don't, and you can't, it's really, really hard to justify why you're doing it. If you create an art and you're someone like we are, you're not really doing it for money. That might be one motivation, but let's face it, you'd choose another career if that's what you're really chasing. You know? So, it's just expression. It's just creativity and feeling really, really present, isn't it? Like that's it. And the fact that you can clock onto that and you realize that was the big driver that whole time, was that feeling of being you're really, really in the moment, which is strangely hard considering there is one moment. That's where you are. Everything else is just a story, right? Like, or some.
But that's not where your mind is, though. Is
No,
it?
and that's not. But that's kind of where the mind needs to be, I think, for us to move forward. Is like actual creativity, and you only get that from being right there. And so and it's a process as well. It's like you said, isn't it? It's a means to itself. It's not like the orchestra that plays the tune or the piece the fastest wins. The whole journey is the point, and that's a really, really cool thing when you actually realize that. So.
Absolutely. And like, I guess that's what I don't know, making art or being a songwriter or anything like that is. It's not. No one's. Well, I mean, they probably have made a song and said, "Hey, look, this is where I am. I've finished here, and that's great." Hey, it's like the whole thing, isn't it? Like, where if someone writes a really happy song, no one wants to listen to that.
No
one wants. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. Like I've always, like, not always, but like, especially recently, because I've kind of taken XMenBTeam to be this thing where I want to promote a positive message. I don't want to. If you want to listen to music about how shit everything is, then there's a million bands that will do that, and they're fucking great. Like, there are some amazing bands that do that, and that's wonderful. But what is also wonderful is, like, you know, let's see where we're going out of this. Let's hope for something better to come. After the place that we're at now, you know, and that's the kind of thing. So, like, you know, it's like there's a Real Big Fish song about, like, it's all about, like, how I've got a girlfriend, and every time it comes on, I'm like, skip. I don't want that. No one wants to hear about happy people.
You're saying about, like, no one wants to hear a happy song. I think, especially in the 90s.
If you mention the Stereophonics, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I was literally about to say that tune, "Have a Nice Day," came on the other day. I was like, this is a fucking awesome song, man. And
it's just a song about having a nice day.
Yeah. What's wrong with that, man?
I think there was a big thing in the 90s, or maybe early 2000s, and till present, is there's a big thing about making a very sad song happy because of the chord progression behind it.
Yeah, the Smiths.
So I was thinking of
why does it always rain?
Yeah, that's a pretty good song. Also,
Scottish
Alanis
band, lovely Scottish band.
All I Want to Do, in brackets, is have some fun, is actually a very sad song about, like, the lyrics in it are very sad, but the way it comes across is it's a very happy song, like I'm having the best time of my life, but it's actually not when you look deeper into the lyrics of the song.
Yeah,
it's not.
I see.
Tonight on Behind the Record with James Paul.
Hey, I'd listen to that podcast.
So basically, the moral of the story is write a sad song, write some happy chords.
Yeah, and then you're sorted.
I'm pretty sure someone's written a song about writing a sad song and making it happy.
Really? Who? You don't know.
I don't know. I need a piss so badly. I can't think of it right now.
This is a sad song.
He's fucking talking about
Da,
hey,
da, 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 da.
hey Jude, you dickhead.
It's not Hey Jude.
Take a sad song and make it happy.
Better. Make it better.
Oh, whatever.
I win.
Whatever. Close enough.
Yeah, I ruined that, didn't I? Shouts out to Liverpool.
In it.
Oh dear. Right. I think that's probably a good point to
Yeah.
wrap this sausage up, isn't it? Right. Sam, do you want to tell people at home where they can find the XMenBTeam stuff?
We're all on. We're on Spotify. We're on all different things. We're on Deezer and Napster and the Amazon Music Store and Google Play and YouTube and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, just search XMenBTeam, all one word. Instagram, Facebook, www.xmenbteam.com. Go find our music. If you like it, share it with your friends, whatever. We will have some new stuff out pretty soon. Like we've just played one new song the other day. We've got a new EP that we've just started to rehearse. We're going to eventually book some gigs. Yeah, I mean, listen to us. If you like us, share us with your friends. But most of all, just you know, be happy and be nice to people. That's what we care about more.
Love the positive messages. Right. One more question for you all, chaps. If you could sum this podcast up in 3 words, what would it be? Let's go, Sam.
Brandy, Prog, Al.
Boom. Alistair.
All right, good time.
All right.
Matt Campbell for the 20th time.
I know. It's getting really hard to come up with ones.
Yeah, no, Matt, come on, Matt, come on.
I'd say rambling, yeah, interesting.
Oh,
Nice. Ooh.
See, I always feel like the pressure's on me because I have to do the last one.
Yeah.
For the 20th time.
Yeah, it's your podcast, mate.
Right, and let me think. I'm a little bit sozzled, so I need to have a little.
Neck that brandy
Right,
and.
so here we go.
Do it quickly. I need
Cheers.
a week.
Cheers.
Right, that'll help.
Heartfelt and intriguing.
Yeah,
Ah,
no.
thank you.
Mysterious.
I thought you were going to say heartburn there.
I probably am going to have a bit of heartburn.
Thank you, James and George, as well.
Thank you, James.
Thank
George.
you, James George. You've done a thank you, George, for doing the audio today. I think you did a rather good job.
We swapped roles.
Yeah, you guys did great. Sam and Al, really, thank you very much for coming on
Thank
today.
you.
It's been a real pleasure. It's nice having 4
Yeah, I know. Different
people
vibe.
to bounce on. We'll definitely have
again.
you on again soon.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
cheers.
Probably like episode 120.
No, I was thinking this today. Can we please come on when we've actually got something to
Yeah,
promote?
definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. We'll
I
definitely
mean,
have
I've
you
got a
guys
prog podcast in the pipeline.
Yeah, honestly.
No,
like,
we
we'll plug it.
were going on about we want to start a podcast called Sam and Al Shoot the Fat.
Yes.
Do it.
Do you think
Honestly,
it'll work?
do it. Do it. Really
Yeah,
do it, man.
yeah, absolutely, man. What's stopping you?
We'll be all over that. If you do that, we'll have you on again.
Oh my god, we
and
could
you
have
can
like
promote.
crossovers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shared-
God.
shared
You could have
universes.
us on your podcast.
It would be exactly the same as this, only we'd be sat over there and you'd be sat over here.
We'll just flip it over, man. It'll be fine. It'll be perfect.
And maybe you'd need a piss.
Right, let's wrap, let's wrap this sucker up. Thank you so much for listening at home. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for putting up with us talking. I really hope that you got something out of this. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. These guys' live session is coming out on Friday. This episode of the podcast will just be out on Saturday. Who the hell have we got? We've got Alex Arota on from Valletta next week, so I'm really excited to chat with him. On Friday, we've got our... We've got our...
Live show!
Yeah! I'm so excited about this. Our live show. We've got Big Society, we've got Kurt McKelligan, and we've got Chris Wise of the Hidden Revolution. It's going to be a really, really good show. So please tune in on Friday evening for that. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Al.
Nice
Thank
one.
you,
Thank
Matt.
you, Brad.
Thank you, James. And thank you, George. We hope you all
And
have...
thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
We hope you all have a beautiful week, and wherever you are in the world, whatever day or time, whatever it is, I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you all soon. See you next week. Goodbye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Drink brandy.